Chapter 2736. Ruler of World Domination, we've arrived. A king-level subordinate stood in front of the world domination country's ruler, who was resting with his eyes closed. As soon as the words left his mouth, the world domination ruler opened his eyes abruptly. He didn't know if it was just his imagination, but when he opened his eyes, 2 bolts of purple lightning flashed. He slowly stood up, the bones in his body crackling. We're here so quickly. The world domination country's ruler lowered his gaze and gazed at the small secondary star. Why are there so few people? The ruler inexplicably furrowed his brows. There were far too few soldiers stationed outside the sacred region's secondary star. Several thousand. Although they looked as if they were facing a great enemy, the world domination country's ruler was well aware that the sacred region's remaining forces weren't this small. Could there be an ambush? He looked around and saw no other celestial bodies around the secondary star, nor were there any asteroids or stars. Under these circumstances, there was no way they could set up an ambush. "What's going on?" muttered the world domination country's ruler subconsciously. His heart also became heavy. This scene was vastly different from what he'd imagined. For a moment, he didn't even order an all-out attack. They're not attacking. On the secondary star, Hua Jinro and the others could see the world domination country's ruler's arrival through their equipment. Yet, the world domination country's ruler didn't order an all-out attack. He doesn't dare. Yi Zichen laughed and shrugged. Yi Zichen chuckled and shrugged. Didn't I just say it? The stronger someone is, the more they value their life. Although he wants nothing more than to tear you to shreds, there's nothing outside our planet. That only makes him feel apprehensive. Oh, so that's why the great god told everyone to retreat? Is it so he won't dare attack? Exclaimed Meng Luo. On one hand, Yi Zichen glanced at the ship, which had stopped 30 kilometers away, and shrugged. In truth, I'm doing this mainly to show weakness. How long can he hold out like this? Hua Jinro frowned. I doubt it'll be too long. No matter what, he's a ruler. He won't be afraid for long. That's right. A strategy like the empty city stratagem would not have much of an effect on the world domination ruler. According to Yi Zichen's estimations, it would take at most 2 hours. He wouldn't wait any longer and would launch an all-out attack on the child star. He couldn't wait forever. A minute of delay was a minute of wasted energy. And this time, he was here to wipe out the sacred region universe countries, not to fight a war of attrition. Even if he suspected that there was something fishy going on, he wouldn't have too many scruples. Because he was the king, he had the strength to shatter the trick. Let's wait a little longer. Yi Zichen chuckled. It's enough to deter them for a short period of time. When Niu Meng picks out his 100,000 death sworn, then we can officially fight them. Will 100,000 men of sacrifice really die? Meng Luo murmured. Yes. Yi Zichen gave an absolutely accurate answer to Meng Luo's probing question. They will definitely die, because the order I gave them was a death order. None of them can survive. Meng Luo frowned. Meng Luo, this is war. War. Death is a very normal thing. Yi Zichen patted her head. Yi Zichen patted her head. They'll definitely die, and they'll die a heroic death. Of course, they'll die a worthy death. Before Yi Zichen could finish, Niu Meng hurriedly flew over from afar. Lord, I've chosen them all. Take me there. Yi Zichen followed Niu Meng's guidance and arrived at a clearing. The clearing was filled with bustling figures. Yi Zichen estimated that there were far more than 100,000 of them. When Yi Zichen arrived, everyone was in an uproar. Lord Yi, is what you said true? If we're willing to die, will the others be able to live? Lord Yi, Yi Zichen, who stood in the air, looked down at them. Lord Yi, thank you for coming here. I trust that you've heard Niu Meng's words. I can give you a definite answer here. That's right. The death of these 100,000 death sworn will save the lives of others. If it's true, then I'm willing to die. Me too. Me too. The shouts of the people below grew louder and louder. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes at Aelin when he saw their excited expressions. All of a sudden, he released his Duke-level aura. The hot-blooded warriors all held their breaths. I'm sorry, I understand your feelings, but I need 100,000 people. Right now, the enemy has already arrived in outer space. I don't have time to waste with you. I don't even have the time to thank you for your fearless spirit. From now on, please don't speak anymore. Listen to me." The people below all fell silent. Yizichin let out a deep sigh. Those whose injuries are not fatal and can be healed with the power of the universe step forward. A portion of the people walked out from the crowd. Those who have been born for less than 2,000 years, please step forward. Another portion of people left. Those who have wives and children, as well as underage children, please step forward. Women, please step forward. Those who are all brothers, please step forward. Those who are both father and son, please step forward. More and more people left the crowd. In the end, Yizichin estimated that there were around 120,000 people left. Very good. From now on, those who remain here will be our sacred universe country's death warriors. Everyone's expressions changed. Only the ones who'd been given the title of Death Sworn looked at Yizichin sharply. From now on, you'll be under my direct command. What you need to do is very simple. Obey my orders without question. You don't need to think. You just need to do as I say. Yes, Your Excellency. Their voices were like thunder. Their deafening replies rang out from the mouths of the Death Sworn. Even Yizichin was shocked by this. He nodded to the people below. "Niomeng, your subordinate is here. Prepare 5,000 combat spaceships and 10,000 manned spaceships for them." "Yes, sir." No one asked. No one interfered. All they had to do now was carry out Yizichin's orders and carry them out to the end. Yizichin couldn't help but clench his fists as he watched the Death Sworn take out their communicators. "Can you hear me?" "Yes, Your Excellency." "Very good. Then follow behind my warship and prepare to meet the enemy." Chapter 2737. Outer Space. The dominating World King personally stood at the very front. Without needing any protection, he used his divine sense to check the situation in outer space. Not long ago, the equipment had already been checked many times. The results were that there were no ambushes around. He didn't believe it. If he were on the Sacred Domain Universe countryside, he would be on the defensive and prepare to welcome the end of the war in the most heroic way possible. Or perhaps, in the face of certain death, he would fight for a chance of survival. It couldn't be like this. There were only a few thousand of them. Compared to the equipment, he trusted his own universe consciousness more. That's strange. After a few more checks, the dominating World King couldn't help but frown. His divine sense didn't find any ambushes either. He could suspect that the equipment was faulty, he could suspect that his subordinates were lying, but the results were his own. He couldn't possibly suspect that there was a problem with his divine sense. How could it be like this? They can't just give up, right? The dominating World King muttered in space. Yizichin's words were right. The stronger one was, the more they treasure their life and their hard-earned strength. When faced with certain situations, if things were different from what he expected, he would become very cautious and cautious. He wouldn't fall into a trap, even if he was confident in his own strength and believed that he wouldn't die. However, it was better to be safe than sorry. It was never wrong to be cautious. Furthermore, he was the ruler of a universe country. If he was tricked by a junior, he wouldn't be able to keep his face. "King, are we still going to wait?" One of the king-level subordinates asked. They'd waited long enough. Many of the people in the fleet were starting to get impatient. The people who returned weren't direct subordinates of the dominating World King. Naturally, they didn't respect the dominating World King that much. Since he hadn't given orders, they naturally had their excuses. Some of them even started to send messages to their superiors to report the situation. "Let's wait another half an hour." The dominating World King was still worried. He wanted to confirm the situation before attacking. At this time, from the remnant planet of the Sacred Universe country, an interstellar battleship charged ahead, followed by 10,000 manned and battleships. Behind them were hundreds of universe energy cannons that appeared before the eyes of the world dominator country lord. Behind these troops were millions of sacred region universe country experts. Only when he saw this scene did the dominating world ruler's furrowed brows relax. That's more like it. The scene in front of him was within his expectations. Everyone had a tragic look in their eyes. There were also tens of thousands of spaceships and battleships. Phew! The dominating world ruler exhaled lightly. All of his previous apprehensions vanished in an instant. Ah, this sacred universe country is much stronger than we thought. The world domination ruler grinned. 20,000 manned spaceships, 10,000 combat spaceships, and 500 interstellar energy cannons. These energy cannons are good stuff. 500 of them can even destroy a star. Yeah, the King-class expert nodded, his eyes filled with amazement. Everyone on their side felt that the sacred universe country had lost all battle preparations. When they saw the ships, battleships, and energy cannons, their eyes were filled with shock. But for some reason, even though they were shocked, they also felt that it was natural and understandable. If the sacred region universe country didn't have any preparations at all, it would actually be weird. What could they use to fight with them? If they fought with only a few people, they might as well just surrender. World-dominating world ruler. At that moment, the door of the battleship at the very front opened. Yi Zichen slowly walked in front of the world-dominating world ruler. The moment he appeared, the world-dominating world ruler's gaze darkened. Milky Way Lord. For a few minutes, neither of them spoke again. They just stared at each other. Eye contact. Yi Zichen could sense the killing intent hidden within the world-dominating world ruler's gaze. What the world-dominating world ruler saw was the mockery in Yi Zichen's eyes. That irritated him even more. It made the flames of anger in his heart burn like firewood. The world-dominating world ruler's gaze is so fierce. Yi Zichen laughed. Yi Zichen laughed. Do you want to kill me? I wouldn't dare. It's not that I don't want to. You're smart enough to know that if you kill me now, you'll definitely die. Yi Zichen stretched lazily. Yi Zichen stretched lazily. Unfortunately, you probably won't have the chance to kill me in this lifetime. You don't have to sneer. Actually, you should be thankful for this trial. If not for this trial, do you think you have the qualifications to stand in front of me? You're just a guard. You don't even have the right to raise your head in front of me. If not for the trial, do you think you have the right to stand in front of me and talk to me? Wah! During this time, Meng Luo, who was standing in the cabin, opened her mouth wide in shock. The Almighty is too cool. As expected of our Almighty, his words are so tough. The flame rat clenched its fists in excitement. You sure have guts to say something like that to the king. Don't learn from him. He's just an idiot. Hua Jinro reminded. Bullshit. My big brother Zichen isn't stupid. This is his scheme. What do you know? Hurry up and apologize to my Zichen Gidge. Kiki. Su Yan frowned and tugged at Xia Kiki. Actually, I also think Yi is a bit impulsive. As everyone discussed, Yi Zichen maintained his playful smile and looked at the king of world domination's face. Just look at yourself. I purposely removed all my defenses to scare you so much that you didn't even dare to move. If I didn't come out on my own accord because the trial had to continue, would you have been punished to stand here for the rest of your life? Tell me the truth. Did your legs tremble just now? Yi Zichen purposely mocked the king of world domination with a smile. The king of world domination clenched his fists tightly, while the anger in his chest boiled. Milky Way Lord, have you said enough? More or less, Yi Zichen shrugged. Yi Zichen shrugged. One last thing. Are you going to surrender? I won't surrender, even if I die. You're tough enough. Yi Zichen grinned. Yi Zichen grinned. Then let's fight. I hope you won't be beaten to the point of scurrying away like a rat and losing your dignity as a king. That's what I wanted to say to Milky Way Lord as well. With that, both of them returned to their battleships. The two of them stood in each other's battleships. Yi Zichen waved towards the king of world domination with a smile, then spat on the ground. This brat, this damned worm. The king of world domination clenched his fists and took out his communication device. Everyone attack. I want you to destroy them. Destroy them. I want them to be completely annihilated. Chapter 2738. Zaziz, he's definitely going to be pissed to death. Yi Zichen, who stood in the cabin, smiled, then tilted his head and looked at Bailey. Retreat. The warship instantly retreated to the surface of the planet. The other people in the cabin also came forward and frowned. Easy. What are you going to do? Hua, Jinro frowned. If you continue to anger him like this, you'll only get the cruelest revenge from him. I just confirmed something. Yi Zichen muttered. What is it? He's an extremely confident guy. Hua Jinro smiled. What's there to confirm about that? Hua Jinro squinted her eyes. That's pretty much all experts have. The stronger they are, the more confident they are. It's different. Yi Zichen walked to the front of the warship and looked at the scene in space. At that moment, he could already see the world domination countries' people starting to attack. Niu Meng, execute the third plan. Understood. Niu Meng's reply sounded out from the communication device. All of a sudden, the 500 energy cannons outside the planet opened fire. The moment the cannons opened fire, this meant that the trial battle had officially begun. All 500 energy cannons were interstellar energy cannons, which were top-notch weapons in the universe. Meng Tai's research team had only developed them not too long ago. As a result, there weren't many of them. Yi Zichen took out all of them for the sake of winning the trial. Yi Zichen had wanted to catch Yi Zichen off guard, but the others in the sacred region didn't understand why Yi Zichen had withdrawn all of his troops. In order to make them feel more at ease, Yi Zichen took out the interstellar energy cannons. Interstellar energy cannons. They could fire 20 cannons after charging. Even a star might not be able to withstand 500 cannons firing at once. Construct the energy barrier. The world domination country's ruler gave the order as he watched the cannons fire. He had already expected this to happen the moment he saw the cannons. What's more, even the firing method and timing were the same as he had imagined. Fire 20 cannons before the start of the battle to reduce the red side's overall strength. It was a good idea. Unfortunately, it was all within the world domination country's ruler's control. You're still too naive. The dominating world ruler laughed arrogantly. Within the range of their fleet, they saw a blue energy barrier covering the sky above them like a cover. The energy cannons hit it. They could only create ripples, but they were unable to penetrate the barrier. Monarch, we blocked it. Of course. The Overlord ruler had a smug look on his face. The Milky Way Overlord schemes are all within my grasp. He thinks that he can make us suffer a great loss by launching a volley of attacks. It's a pity that I've already arranged for people to set up a barrier. When they're firing at the same time, we only need to recharge. Monarch, you have great foresight. The King class expert laughed as well. This is experience. The Overlord King pulled out a chair and sat at the front of the cabin. From here, he could clearly see the situation of the battle outside. That kid is just relying on his luck to get the connections of the Milky Way Master. What else does he have? Has he experienced a war? Does he know how to fight? I think that a mommy must have gone senile. He actually let a brat like the Milky Way Lord take command. He really isn't afraid of the sacred galaxy being wiped out too quickly. Maybe he wants to use this method to show goodwill to the Milky Way galaxy. The king-level underling said. That's not impossible. The Overlord ruler had a look of agreement as he nodded. After a country is wiped out, he has to find a backer. The Milky Way galaxy, it's not a bad backer. Just as he spoke, the volley of energy cannons had ended. 20 rounds, no problem. Jinan, go take a look at our energy expenditure. Ruler, the energy expenditure is at 5% of the total. The king-level fighter, Jinan replied. The numbers are exactly the same as your calculations. When Jinan's voice was filled with admiration, the Overlord ruler's smile grew even wider. Let's remove the energy barrier. We can start the main attack. Ruler, they won't fire any more energy cannons? Jinan asked. They won't. The Overlord ruler laughed and shook his head. These star-level energy cannons only fire one round. After 20 shots, it would take at least half a month to recharge. Half a month, we would have destroyed them long ago. With that, countless spaceships flew out from the back of the Overlord ruler's main warship. Easy, they're blocking it, What? Jinro frowned. The energy cannons didn't work. Now that they're attacking, it's a chance for us. Let's have the energy cannons on the surface fire together. What's there to fire? Yi Zichen shook his head and held onto his communicator. Niu Meng, Plan 5. All of the spaceships on the sacred region's side instantly entered the fray. The cabin doors of the spaceships opened, and the experts of the sacred region charged in without fear of death. Less than half a minute later, the people of the sacred region clashed with the people of the overlord ruler. The spaceships crashed. The sounds of explosions rang out continuously. Easy, we clearly have so many charged energy cannons on the surface, Hua Jinro said. They can't be moved. Yi Zichen tilted his head and looked at her. Yi Zichen tilted his head and glanced at her. You're thinking too simply. We might gain an advantage if we fire together, but we can't win. What I want is to win. Win? The energy cannons are our trump card to turn the tables. If we attack them now, they can instantly set up an energy barrier. When that happens, the energy cannons will be wasted. Yi Zichen frowned. The energy cannons have to be unexpected in order to have a chance of winning. But if you don't fire now, even if you fire later, they can still set up an energy barrier. Flowery judo. I won't. Yi Zichen's eyes flashed with confidence. Don't worry. When I say attack, they definitely won't set up a barrier. Then now, Hua Jianro pursed her lips. Didn't you promise them that 100,000 people would die? I never said 100,000 people would die. Yi Zichen frowned. I said 100,000 must die, and the remaining 50,000. Also, take a good look. Are those people who are going out really fighting? Everyone looked over. Very quickly, Su Yin narrowed her eyes. They are running for their lives. That's right. Yi Zichen nodded with a smile. I never wanted them to fight to the death. My plan 5 is to fight the people of the Overlord ruler for 2 hours. During that time, they don't need to kill the enemy, they just need to ensure their own safety. Chapter 2739. At that moment, the soldiers fighting in space received a very simple order. Bastard. There was no need for them to risk their lives to kill the enemy. All they had to do was stay here. If they could kill the enemy, then kill them. If they couldn't, then don't get injured. That was what they needed to do. During that time, Yi Zichen stood in the cabin and watched the battle. He wanted to see if these people were truly following his orders. What are you planning now? Hua Jianro truly felt like her intelligence was being insulted. As a direct descendant of the family, Hua Jianro, who was raised as the head of the family, was taught many things that adults didn't understand. Even though she was young, she had never truly opened her heart when she interacted with Bai Yu and company. She had always played the role of the big sister and protected her little brothers and sisters. Even though it seemed like she never missed out on having fun. In private, she had to learn a lot of knowledge about the universe. One of them was to lead the battle. Until now, she had seen no less than 100,000 battles of various sizes. She would carefully review every single battle and consider how to win from the perspective of the losing side. She would consider how to win even better from the perspective of the winning side. If the other side made the same decisions as she did when she was on the losing side, then how should she change from the perspective of the winning side so that her side could maintain their victory? She truly learned a lot. For example, at the beginning of the battle, although she would ask Yi Zichen about all of his decisions, she was able to understand them, even though her thoughts differed greatly from Yi Zichen's in some aspects. But when she thought about it from another perspective, she was certain that those decisions were feasible. The first thing she thought of after the 500 interstellar energy cannons were used up was to let the other side enter their battlefront and catch them off guard, then let the energy cannons inside the planet fire again. She was certain the attack this time would definitely allow them to reap great benefits. Tell me what you think first. Yi Zichen looked towards Hua Jianro. Yi Zichen tilted his head and looked toward Hua Jianro. If you were in command, how would you win this battle? Win. Hua Jianro pursed her lips without saying anything. In her mind, she had done countless battles to turn the tables, and all kinds of possibilities that would appear in the war were demonstrated in her mind once. I still insist on my idea of using the energy cannon to attack. When Hua Jianro said that, a warm smile appeared in Yi Zichen's eyes. Continue. According to your scan of the enemy situation, there are about 20 million of them. After years of reviewing and deducing, Hua Jianro was used to drawing a sand table in the cabin with the energy of the universe. Red is the enemy, blue is us. Everyone in the cabin leaned over, while Yi Zichen also leaned down to listen to Hua Jianrou's plan seriously. Actually, judging from the enemy's numbers and combat readiness, we have the possibility of winning, and it's not a small one. I think it's at least 40%. So high, Meng Luo said in surprise. I've underestimated it a little. The universe energy in Hua Jianrou's hand left a mark on the map again. A round of energy cannon attacks made them think that we don't have any other backup plans. Of course, we can't rule out the possibility that they are on guard. If it were me, I would place them 500 kilometers away from our planet. As she spoke, Hua Jianrou drew a horizontal line on the map. This distance is the most suitable. Advance. For us, there's still 500 kilometers. Retreat. If they want to return to the cabin, they need to retreat 2,000 kilometers. However, we have 200,000 energy cannons here. I'll first deploy 100,000 cannons to fire in unison. If we catch them off guard, we can reduce their numbers by about 500,000. It will take half a minute to set up the energy barrier. At that time, the energy cannons can fire 4 shots, which means that we can reduce their numbers by about 2 million. At that time, they still have 18 million people. Everyone listened to Hua Jianrou's plan seriously. Hua Jianrou also continued. When they finish setting up the energy barrier, I will fire the remaining 100,000 cannons. The impact of 200,000 energy cannons will be able to directly shatter their barrier. They will lose 1 million people. It will take another half a minute to set up the barrier again. I can fire 4 more shots. That way, they will lose 4 million people. They will also leave behind 14 million people. After that, I will stop the cannons and they will scatter and change their positions. Then they will retreat the energy barrier and I will aim at them individually. If all the energy cannons miss, we can reduce their numbers by about 6 million. With their remaining 8 million people, along with the number of people we have, and prepare for battle, we can win. With that, Hua Jianrou looked towards Yi Zichen's position seriously. Meng Luo opened her mouth in shock, while the others were also shocked by her plan. If everything went according to her plan, then they really could win. Yi Zichen, who sat in his seat, couldn't help but clap. Very good plan. But you won't use my plan. Hua Jianrou's expression tensed. I want to know why. You already agreed with my plan, so why aren't you using it? Hua Jianrou, just say whatever you have in the future. Don't hide it, we're all on the same side. Yi Zichen didn't answer her question. I'm asking you. Your structure is pretty good, and there's nothing wrong with the data you've just given. Yi Zichen said, and? Hua Jianrou frowned. That's too idealistic. Yi Zichen licked his lips, then erased the map Hua Jianrou drew. Let's start from your first step. There's no doubt that the first round of bombardment will work, but why did you say that it can wipe out 500,000 people? Are you talking about here? Hua Jianrou smiled. I confirmed it based on their current positions. I'm very confident. I trust your judgment. Yi Zichen nodded with a smile. Yi Zichen smiled and nodded. Then have you considered the possibility that their current positions are based on the people I sent out to fight them? All of a sudden, the confident smile on Hua Jianrou's face disappeared. If it wasn't for those people, then what would their positions be like when they directly charged in? I believe anyone who knows a bit about commanding would have told them to split up. What effect would your bombardment have in this situation? They were just attacked by the energy cannons, so they would be extremely cautious. What effect would the energy cannons have in that sort of situation? I can tell that you're a commander that likes to play with numbers. You? Give me a number. Chapter 2740. How much it would be left? The moment Yi Zichen said that, Hua Jianrou already had an answer in her mind. 20%. Her tone was very unconfident. She bit her lips and looked up, only to see Yi Zichen's seemingly forgiving gaze. All right, then we'll go with the 20% you said. Other people might not understand the meaning behind Yi Zichen's words. Hua Jianrou understood very well. She knew that 20% was too much. Actually, Hua Jianrou also understood that she had said too much. Yi Zichen's answer was to save her face. 20% of 500,000 is 100,000. Based on your calculation of no losses, The 3 cannons after that would be 400,000. Yi Zichen continued to analyze the problem with Hua Jinrou's plan. 400,000. That was already very small in comparison to 20 million. Even if it ended here, Yi Zichen was certain that Hua Jinrou's plan wasn't feasible, and no one would think that there was a problem. However, Yi Zichen couldn't do that. What he had to do now was no longer to argue or find faults with Hua Jinrou. He was giving her a serious lesson. There's one thing that's correct. It's to not attack with all of our energy cannons at the start, and leave 100,000 as our trump cards. Then, we can use them to destroy the barrier while the enemy is maintaining it. Your idea is very good. I have to praise you for that. But that single, but caused Hua Jinrou's heart to skip a beat. Could it be that there was a problem with my decision as well? Are you certain that the barrier they maintain can be destroyed by 200,000 cannons? Yi Zichen smiled. When we attack knowing that the enemy will be cautious, the enemy will advance more cautiously. Do you really think that they will be careless enough to set up a barrier that can defend against 100,000 energy cannons? They won't. Hua Jinrou shook her head. So that was the mistake. When Hua Jinrou replied, she also started to reflect on herself. Indeed, her idea was too idealistic. Then there's you. Finally, you said that we can fight a final battle with them with our combat readiness in numbers. Yi Zichen let out a sigh. Yi Zichen let out a sigh. That's right, we will win. I can tell you with certainty. Even without the energy cannons, we have a 50% chance of winning. But how many people will die if you do this? Can you guarantee that we will win without any casualties? No. Also, you have to think about it. The battle we're facing isn't just against the world domination ruler and the others. It's against the entire faction behind him. Even if you use your method, we won. What should we do when the follow-up attacks arrive? At this time, we don't even have anyone to charge the energy cannons. Yi Zichen's words caused Hua Jinrou to lower her head. She had never thought so much. When it came to thinking about problems, she was indeed lacking a lot compared to Yi Zichen. From Yi Zichen's words just now, she truly acknowledged Yi Zichen as commander. To be able to think to this extent and find the loopholes in her decision-making, he had to be very grateful. Then his strategy would be even more perfect. Hua Jinrou, don't be too disappointed. Yi Zichen patted Hua Jinrou's head with a chuckle, then caressed her long hair. You're a smart girl. There's nothing wrong with your decision-making. It's just that you're a bit lacking on the spot, and your way of thinking is a bit limited. War isn't as simple as you think it is. It's not something you can understand just by reviewing a few battles. How? How did you know? There's an old saying from my hometown, armchair strategists. Yi Zichen's expression was gentle. Right now, you're just armchair strategists. However, you have to believe in yourself. You have the ability and brains to lead, but you're still lacking some training. Didn't we return to the ancestral dragon clan to train ourselves? There's still a long way to go, so don't underestimate yourself so easily. You are very talented. Yi Zichen caressed Hua Jinrou's hair. Hua Jinrou's heart began to beat rapidly. Her face, which was hidden beneath her long hair, also strangely blushed. Yi Zichen looked at her with a smile for a while longer, then returned to her original position to look at the situation outside. The others also walked up. Hua, are you all right? Baiyu walked up in concern. Hua Jinrou pursed her lips and shook her head, but her heart raced. After a long while, she looked up at Yi Zichen's back. Lil Whitey really is a very special person. Baiyu didn't quite hear what she said. Hua Jinrou quickly shook her head. Haha, I'm fine. Yi Zichen taught me a lesson just now, so I accepted it humbly. But I have to say, he's really amazing. I really want to know what he's been through before. He doesn't seem to have much of a weakness in any aspect. Yeah, I'm really curious. The battle outside continued. At that moment, it had already been 2 hours since the start of the battle. King of world domination, it's already been 2 hours. The sacred region cosmic nations, people don't seem to want to fight us. The king-level Jianan frowned as he looked at the battle outside. The king stage Jianan frowned as he watched the battle outside. Look, they're all hiding. They don't dare to fight directly. They don't dare. The king of world domination's eyes were filled with arrogance. Our people are all elites. They're just a bunch of defeated soldiers. If they really fight us, they'll definitely die. But we can't just drag it out like this. Jianin muttered. Indeed, the king of world domination twisted his neck. The king of world domination twisted his neck. 2 hours should be enough. They shouldn't have any other energy reserves. King, you just said, I do suspect that they have energy cannons in reserve, so it's normal for them to have a trump card. But they haven't fired any yet, so they probably don't have anything else in reserve. The king of world domination squinted his eyes. The dominating world ruler narrowed his eyes. Let the people hiding in the dark come out. We can start the attack now. Yes. Jianin went to relay the order. Then they saw several tens of thousands of spaceships appear in the sky. Easy. I know, they finally came out. Yi Zichen also stood up when he saw the spaceships appear. Yi Zichen, you've been waiting for this moment? Of course, Yi Zichen smiled. Yi Zichen chuckled. Now, I can tell you with certainty that we'll definitely win this time. This world domination country's ruler is just as impatient as I thought. 2 hours. With that, Yi Zichen shouted into the communication device. Niu Meng, they're going to start the main attack. You guys act like you're losing. Deathsworn, all of you go up. Now, it's time for you to perform. For the future of the sacred region, for your fallen comrades, for your family and descendants. Please give your lives. Chapter 2741. Caution. Man is evergreen. The tyranny world country leader came to annihilate the sacred Saint Universe country on his child star with the confidence of victory. Before knowing if the other party had set up an ambush, he wanted to be more cautious. In fact, it was not a problem. Even if he hit a portion of his people, with the strength he sent out, he could still fight to a draw with the sacred region. If the other party had a backup plan, the people he had hidden in the dark could attack when they were unprepared. If he didn't have any backup plans, it wouldn't affect the overall situation even if he deployed all of them. You didn't expect this, did you, Milky Way Lord? The ruler of the world domination kingdom smiled coldly at Yi Zichen. In his opinion, the Milky Way Lord was still too inexperienced. How could a war in the universe be so simple? What did he think this was? A small conflict between the human race and the human race on the planet? Their current war was a universe country war. He sent his men out to fight. How long could this method last? Even if the tyranny world country leader didn't deploy the people hidden in the shadows, with just the remnants of the sacred region universe country army, would they be able to last half a day? Universe country wars weren't fought like this. If they really wanted to carry out the tactic of stalling for time, they should have constructed their defenses before they reached the planet's domain. Fight, fight, retreat. In this way, they could buy more time for their side. Even though the world Hegemon King believed that Yi Zichen wouldn't be able to last until the Milky Way's reinforcements arrived. At the very least, he could slow down his loss, be more presentable. But now, the army he led had penetrated thousands of kilometers away from the planet. He did not encounter any attacks along the way. Too immature, his thinking was still too simple. At the end of the day, he was still young and did not have the so-called big picture at all. Because of this, the world domination king snorted disdainfully at Yi Zichen's claim to the position of Milky Way Lord. That is not worthy of the throne. Such a young kid was not qualified to be the Milky Way overlord. It was a waste of the virtual world group and the Universe Union Bank support for him. Did they really think that such a young kid could inherit the mantle of the Master of the Galaxy? Too naive. In the face of such a huge battle, there were no ambushes or backup plans. You can inform the knights and the rest. The training is about to end. The remnants of the sacred Saint Universe country have all been wiped out by me. The dominating world king twisted his neck and muttered, Monarch, something's wrong. They're starting to counterattack. Suddenly, the king-level expert Jiu Nan shouted with a solemn expression. The world dominator country lord who had already left his seat creased his eyebrows again. Only now did he notice that when his ambush team came out, the sacred universe countryside also had countless ships and battleships. Not bad. The world domination king narrowed his eyes and smiled. There was an ambush. It seemed like the Milky Way overlord had also decided to unleash all his trump cards to fight to the death after seeing all his men pouring out. It seems like I've underestimated him. The tyrannical world ruler muttered to himself. It's just that his people are not enough. The two sides clashed. It could be said that the 20 million elites of the world domination ruler had turned out in full force. On the other hand, over at the Sacred Region Universe countryside, ambushes had appeared, but their numbers were only about 100,000. Even though these people were well equipped, they were still no match for the world domination ruler's army. Kill. After receiving the order, the Death Warriors immediately started fighting to the death as soon as they entered the battlefield. The situation was completely different from the beginning. These people, have they all gone mad? Jionin looked at the scene outside and frowned. Ruler, this is too strange. At the beginning, they were all dodging and didn't clash with our people at all. However, this time, the people who came out are really risking their lives to clash with our people. I can see that. The world domination ruler said softly. Ruler, shouldn't we be more careful? There might be a problem here. Jionin reminded. It was truly, the difference between before and after was too great, causing Jionin to subconsciously feel that there was a problem here. What problem could there be? They are risking their lives. Jionin pointed at the Death Warriors outside who weren't afraid of death. Doesn't the ruler find it strange? Making a fuss out of nothing. However, the world domination ruler didn't seem to care about this at all. Have you ever seen a beast trapped in a cage? The world domination ruler looked at the scene outside and said, those ferocious beasts trapped in cages, before they face death, before they know they can't break out of the cage, they will try their best to preserve their own lives. But when they're about to die, or when they feel that their lives are in danger, do you know what they will do? Risking their lives. Jionin said hesitantly. Right? The world domination ruler smiled and nodded, his eyes filled with a tinge of playfulness. They will disregard everything to attack those who want to take their lives. At such times, what they need is to attack. There's no need for them to hesitate at all. They know that if they hesitate, they will definitely die. Why don't they risk their lives and bite those people to death, to accompany them in death? Don't you feel that these people from the Sacred Universe country are like ferocious beasts in a cage? Looking at the survivors of the Sacred Universe country who disregarded their lives and tried their best to kill their enemies. The playfulness in the eyes of the world domination ruler grew stronger and stronger. How laughable, how pitiful. It could be seen that when he deployed the people hidden in the shadows, the survivors of the Sacred Universe country couldn't hold it in any longer. They didn't want to be eaten away bit by bit. So why not let themselves be at the final juncture of their lives and show their colors? Killing one was worth it. Killing two was worth it. The world domination ruler was sure that this was what they were thinking in their hearts. The king levels are all among them. Muttering softly, the world domination ruler pointed at the most ferocious and tall and sturdy man. I know this person. Iron Armor King, trained in a body technique. His skin is as tough as G-grade metal. His defense is impenetrable. He's a very famous one amongst the king levels. Your subordinate knows. Jionin nodded. The end of a generation of heroes. He's actually one of the kings I had high hopes for. He had a high chance of becoming a country lord. The world domination ruler said regretfully, it's a pity he followed the wrong person. If he was loyal to me, I definitely wouldn't have let him fall to such a state. He's one of the few remaining king-level subordinates of Sky Sea. Since he's out, it means that the Sacred Universe country really has no more hope. The world domination ruler sighed lightly, his eyes gleaming with wisdom. Send a few king levels to deal with him. Let him die with dignity. Understood. Jionin used the communication device to communicate, following which, ships flew out from the sides of the world domination ruler. The doors of the ship opened. 8 king-ranked martial artists descended from the ship's hold and headed straight for the Iron Armor King. Chapter 2742. Who is that person? Yi Zichen, who was sitting in the cabin, also noticed the Iron Armor King fighting amongst the world domination country's forces. The king-class expert had joined the fray. In an instant, The enemy's camp was reduced to a pile of loose sand. Whether it was his mastery of the secret technique or his combat experience, they were all exceptionally outstanding. From the moment he joined the battle until now, no one on the other side could restrict his movements. In less than half an hour, he had killed thousands of human warriors, and many of them were above the titled rank. Winnie and Aelin both looked out. Naturally, Yi Zichen was asking about them. That person who was invincible in the enemy's camp was undoubtedly an expert of the universe. If it was Winnie and the others, they might have an impression. Winnie's expression instantly changed drastically as she looked at Yi Zichen in shock. What happened? This looks like the Iron Armor King. Winnie was shocked. My original body has met the Iron Armor King a few times. This senior is an existence that is twice as old as the king level. I heard that he is the king level expert closest to the king level. King level? Yi Zichen frowned. Is it that Iron Armor King? Hua Jianrou said in surprise. He's someone who is proficient in defense and can defend against a kingdom lord attack. Yes. You also know? Yi Zichen raised her eyebrows. How can I not know? Hua Jianrou's eyes were filled with fear. This Iron Armor King is from the same era as my father. When my father was still at the universe level, this senior was already a king. Even after so many years, he hadn't advanced any further in the king tier. My father once told me about this senior, and his words were filled with regret. Really? Yes, my father said that if the Iron Armor King could become a venerable, then he would be the first shield in the universe. Even an utmost being wouldn't be able to break through his defenses. Now that you mention it, I seem to have an impression of it. The little pixie, Bailey, who stood on Yi Zichen's shoulder, said softly. The Iron Armor King was once on the machinery race's wanted list because his defense was too shocking. If he were to break through to become a monarch, we would have to send out an utmost being to be able to kill him. However, the supreme beings of our race cannot come to your human race. If they do, the supreme beings of the human race will act. It seems that even now, he is ranked in the top 100 on the wanted list. F***ck me. Yi Zichen really didn't expect the Iron Armor King to be so cruel. He was in the top 100 of the machinery race's wanted list. The first shield in the universe. Such a person actually chose to join the Death Warriors. For some reason, Yi Zichen started to feel a bit of pity. If someone like that died, it would truly be a huge loss. Look, at this time, Bailey also searched for the Iron Armor King situation on the virtual network. Iron Armor King, Rhino Clan. Cultivating body techniques. He had a body of copper skin and iron bones, and he had the title of a movable mountain. After he became a king-ranked martial artist, he grasped the earth elemental element and realized that the earth elemental element had become a rock element. He had to increase his defense again. All the venerables and overlords in the universe were amazed by its defense. The Myriad Flower Sect leader once called him the #1 shield of the human race. Myriad Flower Sect leader? Yi Zichen looked towards Hua Jianrou. My father. Hua Jianrou pursed her lips. At the same time, he took a look at sect leader Wanhua's strength. Overlord level. One of the 10 overlords of the human race. For some reason, Yi Zichen pursed his lips and smiled. When he thought about how Baiyu's father was a supreme expert, it wasn't all that surprising that Hua Jinrou's father was one of the 10 overlords. Is this senior a death warrior? Hua Jinrou asked softly. Yes. Does he have to die as well? When Hua Jinrou asked that, Yi Zichen hesitated for half a minute. That's right. The Iron Armor King was indeed a respectable senior. His impressive battle records. Or perhaps it was his life experience. To sum it up, there are only 2 words. Hero. When he broke through to the king level in his early years, he failed to break through and stayed in the foreign battlefields for 5,000 years. In the war, he had killed 6 monarchs, kings, and dukes from the outer realms, and countless others. He was awarded the title of hero of the human race close to 100 times. His iron-like defense caused the outer clans to tremble in fear. Overlords and venerables had tried to kill him multiple times, but to no avail. His ranking on the outer clan's wanted list continued to rise. No one knew why he joined the sacred domain, Cosmic Nation. but everyone in the cabin knew that his life was about to end here. Die. The Iron Armor King's eyes narrowed. With his hammers in hand, he charged forward. On the battleship, he raised his hammers and charged. Even when the ship self-destructed, it didn't deal any fatal damage to him. He was bleeding, but most of it was the blood of his enemies. At the titled level and above, human experts had divine bodies. Killing them was very difficult. But for the Iron Armor King, so long as you revealed your divine body, he would chase after your body and destroy it. He didn't care how many people were protecting him. He just chased after his hammers. How is the Iron Armor King still alive? Wasn't he killed by the Venerables? When the people on the world domination country's side recognized the Iron Armor King, their hearts trembled. No one dared to fight him at all. Anyone who saw him would start to run away from a distance. Die. The heavy hammers fell. Another commander-level elite died under the Iron Armor King's hammers. The hammers fell. The Iron Armor King silently stopped. Come out. I can already feel your aura. The Iron Armor King raised his hand and wiped the blood off his face. He narrowed his eyes and looked at the void next to him. Iron Armor King. Not long after he said that, 8 king-level experts appeared around him. Luoyu King, Deity Sea King, Ash Wolf King. Our king-level experts are here as well. The experts on the world domination country's side cheered. The Iron Armor King coldly looked at the people in front of him. To be honest, even though they were all king-level experts, he didn't recognize them. Ever since he reached the king level, his strength hadn't improved at all. He didn't have the mood to socialize. As for the people he knew, most of them were kings and venerables. After receiving the fatal blow from Tian Hai, he came here from his seclusion. This was also because he owed Tian Hai a favor in his early years. He wanted to return the favor. As for life and death, he didn't care anymore. He didn't have any relatives by his side. A long time ago, he wanted to be free. It was when this thought was born that he found out about Tian Hai. He thought that he might as well end his life here on the battlefield. Senior Iron Armor. The handsome Luoyu King walked over. Even though they were all king-ranked martial artists, it wasn't strange for them to call the Iron Armor King Senior. In fact, the Iron Armor King was too experienced. These king-level experts, even peak-stage king-level experts, had to call him Senior. Chapter 2743. To be addressed as Senior by a king-level expert. The Iron Armor King was not surprised. In his eyes, even a peak king like the Fallen Feather King, a half-step monarch, was still a young junior. Why didn't World Hegemony come personally instead of sending you little fellows to look for me? The Iron Armor King grinned. I'm afraid you guys can't break my surface defense. The monarch naturally has his own thoughts. He must be scared. The Iron Armor King laughed. If a monarch were to lose to me, wouldn't he feel ashamed as well? If someone else said this, they would definitely scoff at it. Kings and monarchs. It seemed like he was just one step away. The difference between them was like heaven and earth. However, the Iron Armor King was qualified. When he was in the extraterritorial battlefield, he had killed more than one monarch. All right, you juniors can come to me together. After dealing with you guys, I still need to find World Hegemony to play with. The Iron Armor King put down his hammers and raised his eyebrows at them with a smile. Come, Senior, I'm sorry for the offense. Several king levels ganging up on a single king level. It seems somewhat unfair. It was a loss of face. But if they were to face the Iron Armor King, if they wanted to win, they would probably have to besiege him. 3,000 falling feathers. King Liu was at the forefront, and as he roared, a pair of white wings appeared on his back. Sharp feathers fell one after another. Like a sharp blade, it pierced the Iron Armor King's body. Rock Fortress. A rock giant instantly appeared around the Iron Armor King. The giant blocked his way. The Fallen Feather King's feathers landed on the rock giant's body. Asterisk rumble. Asterisk a huge roar sounded in space. The feathers riddled the rock giant with holes. At the same time, a king-class expert wearing a leather jacket shouted from above the Iron Armor King. There are wolves in the north. Ooh! A silver wolf opened its bloody mouth and bit down on the Iron Armor King. You clearly have the cosmic energy of a king class. Why do you want to rear mutated beasts? If you use your cosmic energy to nourish the cosmos, you will never be able to break through to the monarch class. The Iron Armor King laughed and smashed the Silver Wolf's head with his hammer. Who are those people? Yi Zichen frowned. Loyu King, Ash Wolf King, God Sea King, Dream Ah King. These kings are all at the peak of the universe. Almost all of them are at the peak of the king level or ninth king level. Winnie narrowed her eyes. Is that so? Who is the strongest among them? On the surface, it's the fallen Feather King, but if it's Senior Iron Armored King, then it should be the Divine Sea King and the Nightmare King that deserve the most attention. Before Winnie could finish her sentence, it started raining cats and dogs in space. This was definitely a strange scene. Everyone knew that the reason it rained on the planet was because the evaporation of water was condensed into water droplets by the cold air. There was no such thing in space, and space was endless and bottomless. However, in the area where the Iron Armor King was located, space seemed to have been torn open and majestic rain poured down. The rain stopped in the middle of its descent. In less than half a minute, a vast ocean appeared in space. Solidify! The blonde divine Sea King roared. The sea that surrounded the Iron Armor King instantly condensed into soldiers. Lu Urgia, can you do it? Yi Zichen asked subconsciously. Su Lu glanced at her. I'm not a water type. I'll just use ice. I can condense a glacier of this size with a wave of my hand. Are you serious? Meng Luo looked at Su Lu in shock. Lu Urgia, you can condense a glacier of this size? What's so difficult about it? Su Lu was taken aback by Meng Luo's surprise. A glacier of this size is as easy as raising my hand. Big sis, don't mess around. Hua Jinro was stunned as well. Is it that difficult? Su Lu was stunned by Meng Luo and Hua Jinro's shock. She didn't think it was difficult at all. Back on Earth, she could freeze all of Earth's oceans with a wave of her hand. The range of her ice was far greater than this glacier. If you don't believe me, I can show you later. Su Lu shrugged. Please, you have to let me see. Hua Jinro pursed her lips. Hua Jinro pursed her lips. Big sis Lu, you have to wake up. Even a normal king level can't condense a glacier of this size. Only the Divine Sea King, who is a peak king, can condense it. I think you're only a warlord, right? Just this glacier requires a king level? Su Lu laughed. Yeah, the people of the universe are so weak, Su Lu couldn't help but say. If you have time, you can go to Earth and take a look. Even if I don't say 10,000, there are at least 8,000 glaciers that can be condensed with a wave of your hand. It's just simple control of the ice element. Is there a need to make such a fuss? Simple control of the ice element. Even the flame rat joined the shocked army. Ice is a mutation of water. I know. Su Lu looked at the little fellows of the universe helplessly. Never mind. When I have time, I'll show you guys how to condense ice with a thought 10,000 li of ice. Let me interject a bit. Based on what you know, what kind of strength is needed to condense an ice planet? Yi Zichen asked. Ice planet? Hua Jinro acted as if she'd heard the most important thing in the world. Then, you have to be at least a high-level king to do it. Condensing ice is already very difficult. I've never heard of anyone condensing a planet. Hearing this, Yi Zichen and Su Lu looked at each other. That explained everything. It seems like their understanding is different from Hua Jinro's. Not long ago, Yi Zichen had personally witnessed Su Lu condense an ice planet and throw it around for fun. Now, Hua Jinro said that only a king-level king could do it. In that case, it wasn't strange for them to be shocked at Su Lu condensing a glacier with a wave of her hand. Then the people of the universe are really weak, Yi Zichen muttered. Or rather, your control of the elements is really weak. Before Hua Jinro could finish, she looked at Su Lu in horror. You, big sis, don't tell me you can condense it. It's just a matter of raising my hand. Su Lu still replied. Oh my god. Meng Luo gaped in shock. Are you serious? Big sister Lu the ice planet. A planet is so big. You think it's just a matter of raising your hand? You have to think this through. A planet. It's much bigger than the child star we're on right now. Then, should I stretch my arm? For Su Lu, this was just a matter of raising her hand. She didn't find it difficult at all. Before Su Lu, could finish, Meng Luo and Hua Jinro hugged her thighs. Big sister, teach us control of the elements. We want to become your disciple. Chapter 2744. What kind of godly person was this? He was able to control the elements at the warrior level. What would happen in the future? Meng Luo and Hua Jinro also knew a bit of elemental control, but compared to Su Luer, who could condense icy stars with a wave of her hand, they couldn't compare at all. They had never heard of in their family, okay? Su Luer stared blankly at the two women kneeling in front of her and hugging her thighs. Don't hug my legs. No. Meng Luo pressed her face against his. You ate my skewers, so you have to teach me how to control them. Otherwise, I won't leave your body. That's right. Since I ate Minlo's skewers, you have to teach me elemental control. Hua Jianro shouted as well. Yi Zichen couldn't help but laugh when he saw that. Seeing Meng Luo and Hua Jinro playing around, and Luer, who was always as cold as an iceberg, couldn't do anything about it, people couldn't help but laugh. Get up. No. Meng Luo hugged Su Luer tightly, afraid that she would run away. Yi Zichen. Su Luer glared at the two buffoons on her lap. That. I also want to learn the control method from you. Bai Yu pursed her lips and also walked up. Behind her followed the flame rat. Me too. You guys are all geniuses of the universe. Why would you want to learn from me? Su Luer frowned. You are the teacher when it comes to elemental control. Bai Yu said seriously. You got the wrong person. Su Lu, sighed, then indicated towards Yi Zichen, who was sitting on the sofa. That's the founding master of elemental control. Go find him. Also, I'm proficient in the ice element, so I can be considered half a water element. Yi Zichen is proficient in controlling the 5 elements. Meng Luo and the others looked at him. Yi Zichen, what was going on? Why was he involved in this? Yi Zichen hurriedly turned around and looked out of the cabin, pretending to know nothing. God, don't listen to Sister Luer's nonsense. My control isn't good. Although I have some control over the 5 elements, I haven't been training much recently. If you guys really want to learn control, then you have to find Lu Ergia. Before he could finish, Yi Zichen felt a threatening gaze from behind him. There was no need to even think about it. Yi Zichen instantly knew that this gaze belonged to Su Luer. Meng Luo, Hua Jianro, Bai Yu, Flame Rat. I know you want to learn the control method, but even if Luer, and I want to teach you, now isn't the time, right? Yi Zichen glanced outside the cabin. Yeah, they're still fighting. Meng Luo muttered. For some reason, they were clearly in the middle of a war. However, none of them felt any sense of danger. Perhaps all of this stemmed from Yi Zichen's confidence. They trusted in Yi Zichen's future plans, which was why they felt so at ease. Then you guys have to teach us in the future, Meng Luo said. Yes. Yi Zichen allowed a soft sigh. He didn't want to dwell on this issue for too long. Meng Luo was easy to coax. When she heard Yi Zichen's confirmation, she didn't pursue the matter any further. Instead, she pointed at the glacier outside. The Iron King is trapped. From the looks of things, that was indeed the case. The Divine Sea King was condensing a glacier in outer space, but the Iron King hadn't left the ocean. The instant the rain surrounded him, he was instantly sealed in ice. Even now, the Iron King still hadn't broken free from the glacier. Or, to put it more bluntly, he hadn't moved at all. The Iron King has been sealed in ice and hasn't moved at all. Didn't you just say that those titled lords aren't a match for him? Meng Luo muttered. They're no threat to the Iron King. Bai Yu said confidently. That's right. Hua Jianro's eyes were also filled with certainty. Trying to kill the Iron King with just a glacier is a fool's dream. How could the number 1 shield beneath the Supremes fall so easily? The Iron King can still come out? Meng Luo exclaimed. He can. Then why isn't he coming out? He doesn't want to. This time, the one who spoke wasn't Bai Yu and company, but Yi Zichen. If I'm not wrong, it should be the King of Nightmares. The King of Nightmares. His name sounds like an illusion. The Iron King might very well be trapped in his illusion. Yi Zichen replied. Illusion? Since he's been trapped in an illusion, why did you say that he doesn't want to come out? Meng Luo blinked. From what Yi Zichen said, it was clear that the Iron King was immune to the King of Nightmare's illusion. He can come out if he wants to. But why hasn't he done anything yet? I don't know. Yi Zichen answered honestly. Perhaps only the Iron Armor King himself knows that. In outer space, outside the glacier, 8 king-level experts stood proudly in outer space. King of Nightmares, you've made your move. The fallen Feather King looked ahead. Among them, there was a person wrapped in black cloth from head to toe. Not even his eyes could be seen. He was the King of Nightmares. Peak king level. He was only a step away from becoming the king. Didn't you say that you wouldn't do anything to the Iron King? King Luoyu muttered. He is still your teacher. Yes. Why? I feel like my teacher is in pain. The King of Nightmares turned around and looked at the frozen Iron King. They were master and disciple. Or rather, the King of Nightmares unilaterally believed that the Iron King was his teacher, but the Iron King had never admitted it. When the King of Nightmares was still a warrior-level expert, that was when he received pointers from the Iron King. It was also then that he decided to walk the path of illusions. 5,000 years had passed since then. The only reason he was able to become a king-level expert and achieve what he had today was all because of the Iron King's pointers. In his heart, he respected the Iron King. Even though the Iron King had yet to break through, and even though Yi Zichen was already above the Iron King in terms of cultivation, Yi Zichen still treated the Iron King as his teacher. I don't feel any desire to live for my teacher. He wants to die in battle. I can't do anything for him. All I can do is let him die in peace, the King of Nightmares sighed. Dream Demon King sighed. God Sea King, shatter the ice. All right. The deity Sea King raised his hand and pressed down on the glacier below. Crack. A crack suddenly appeared in the condensed glacier. Seeing this scene, the divine Sea King frowned and shouted in an instant. Hurry up and retreat. Before his voice fell, the glacier suddenly shattered into countless ice crystals, and the Iron Armor King stood in space with a bleak back, muttering to himself. Why? I can't die. Why? Chapter 2745. His back was bleak. He stood alone in the air. There was only one thing that could be said about the Iron Armor King. Loneliness. If he said it out loud, no one would believe him. In truth, he hadn't done anything at all. His universal energy had automatically activated and shattered the ice. He hadn't wanted to come out. If he really wanted to live, the divine Sea King's seas couldn't possibly seal him. He'd chosen not to move. He'd allowed the sea water to envelop him and the divine Sea King to freeze the sea. When he faced the Dream Demon King's illusions, he maintained a state of non-resistance and simply immersed himself in them. Unfortunately, his universal energy wouldn't let him die. As he was hell-bent on seeking death, the elements around him pulled him out of the illusion, and his energy shattered the surrounding glaciers into crystals. He's seeking death. Yi Zichen muttered from within the cabin. I can tell from his eyes. He wanted to end his life the way he did just now. I just don't know why, but he didn't succeed, said Yi Zichen. So you're saying that he wanted to die, but didn't succeed? Asked Meng Luo. You could say that. That's to say that even though he was seeking death, those king-ranked experts couldn't kill him. Meng Luo twitched her mouth. Then he really might not die. The others in the cabin were astonished as well. How terrifying was his strength. He was seeking death. He didn't resist at all. Even so, 8 peak king-ranked experts couldn't end his life. Was he really a king-ranked expert? Even if he was a supreme-ranked expert, he'd given up all resistance and his will to live. He probably wouldn't survive the combined attacks of 8 king-ranked experts. Even if he didn't die, he'd at least be heavily injured. In the sky, the 8 king-ranked experts looked down at the motionless Iron Armor King in shock. He'd actually broken through. Even with the Dream Demon King and the Divine Sea King working together, he was completely unharmed. Little Black, it's you, isn't it? At that moment, the Iron Armor King muttered. The King of Nightmares, who was standing in the void, froze for a moment before taking a few steps forward. Master, I knew it was you. The Iron Armor King chuckled. Perhaps seeing the King of Nightmares was something to be happy about. I know that your race was annihilated. I went there myself. When I arrived, your life star had already been destroyed. Teacher, I've troubled you. I'm not your teacher. I just gave you a small suggestion. I'm not your teacher yet. The Iron Armor King sighed softly and said, It's good to see you again. I didn't think that you would become a king-ranked martial artist as well. Junior will forever remember Senior's advice back then. Then, suddenly, the Iron Armor King's voice sank. Why did you come here? This question sounded a little strange, and the surrounding King-class experts were puzzled. Only the Nightmare King seemed to know why the Iron Armor King asked him this question and remained silent. Your life star was also invaded. You should know how tragic this kind of war will be. How many innocent people will die? How many families will be implicated? What's more, this is a universe country. Why did you still come here? The Iron Armor King's tone seemed to be pained. The Nightmare King was silent for a long time. I'm sorry, teacher. I've disappointed you. Just as the Iron Armor King said, the Nightmare King had been hurt by invaders. He hated invaders. However, he was now playing the role of the one he once hated. There's nothing to be disappointed about. Everyone has their own reasons. I believe you have yours too. The Iron Armor King smiled warmly. Actually, I have to thank you for letting me see my wife and daughter again. I was able to have a brief moment with them in the illusion. I didn't mean to offend you. The Nightmare King said nervously. You're still as careful as before. The Iron Armor King laughed. I don't mean to blame you. You don't have to blame yourself. I'm really grateful to you. If not for the illusion, I wouldn't have been able to see them again. Little Black, you don't have to be like this. You're already a king-ranked martial artist. Yes, you and I are enemies now. What you have to do is kill me. Yes, I repeat myself. Teacher is my enemy. I shouldn't be thinking about our past. Very well, do it. As soon as he finished speaking, the Iron Armor King looked up at the king-ranked martial artists. I'm also saying this to you. Kill me. Don't think that I've contributed anything to the human race. War is war. If you don't die, it's me. You still have a future, but I don't. Senior, if you're willing, I can introduce you to... There's no need for that. Before the Luoyu King could finish speaking, the Iron Armor King smiled and shook his head. I can't stand Star-Lord Sanyue's behavior, and I can't join them. Furthermore, I came to Sky Sea to repay a debt of gratitude. I've never thought of joining anyone. Do it. Let me see if you king-rank martial artists are the real deal. The Iron Armor King gripped his heavy hammer and looked up at the king-ranked martial artists. I won't use my rock armor. I hope you can end my life here and free me. No, we hope that Senior can do your best. The Luoyu King's expression changed. We hope that Senior can teach us. Boom! The 8 king-ranked martial artists attacked at the same time. The dazzling light of cosmic energy flickered incessantly in space. Wow, they're fighting. Meng Luo pointed at the dazzling scene in front of the cabin. I can't see it clearly. It was a clash between king-ranked martial artists. Meng Luo and the other generals naturally couldn't see it clearly. All they could see was the collision of countless light spots and the deafening sound. The battle lasted for an hour. Even with king-ranked cosmic energy, in such a high-frequency battle, without any replenishment, it shouldn't be able to hold on. Winnie, how's the situation? Can you see it now? Not yet. It's a stalemate. Winnie furrowed her brows and stared at the scenery outside. Aylin, who didn't speak much, clenched her fists. They were dukes. Even though the battle between king-ranked martial artists was a bit difficult for them, it wasn't like they couldn't see it clearly. He must have seen something that made his blood boil. That's why. Boom! At this moment, a dazzling light flashed in outer space. It was as if all the king-class experts had unleashed their final trump cards in an instant to determine the victor. Half a minute passed. The light spots dispersed. It's over, Winnie said. Who won? Meng Luo asked curiously. Before she could finish her sentence, she saw a figure standing proudly under the light. He was the Iron Armor King. Chapter 2746. In space. The Iron Armor King was still standing proudly in space. However, his condition was not much better. It would not be an exaggeration to say that he was riddled with holes. His entire body was covered in bloody holes. Fresh blood flowed out from the space above him. As for the 8 peak king-level experts, they were all lying in space, their fates unknown. The Iron Armor King is still alive. Meng Luo covered her mouth with her hand, her eyes filled with shock. Those king-level experts were all peak king-level experts, and they were quite famous in the universe. Even Meng Luo and the others knew about them. One could imagine that they were also well-known figures. Facing the siege of these 8 experts, could the Iron Armor King still be alive? The Iron Armor King glanced at the king-level experts, then stepped into space and flew towards the warship of the World Domination Country Lord. The Iron Armor King's strength is unfathomable. At this time, the Luoyu King, who was lying on the ground, held a communicator in his hand. Please tell the Celestial Lord that I, Luoyu, can no longer serve the Celestial Lord. In my next life, before he could finish his words, the communicator in his hand fell from his hand. His eyes were filled with shock and unwillingness. A peak king-level expert, dead. His death also meant that the other king-class experts had to bid farewell to this universe. My lord, the Luoyu King, the Divine Ocean King, the Ash Wolf King, the Dream Nightmare King, the Tiger Head King, the Sky Heart King, the White Frost King, and the Greenwood King, the 8 king-level experts are all dead. Jianin gritted his teeth, his eyes red as he reported the battle situation. The World Domination Country Lord let out a long sigh. Perhaps he hadn't expected that these 8 king-level experts would all be killed in less than 3 hours after they were dispatched. The Iron Armor King. He was truly worthy of being the #1 expert under the World Domination Country Lord. Send people to retrieve the bodies of the 8 king-level experts. The World Domination Country Lord said in a low voice. Yes. Jianin gave an order into the communicator, then immediately spoke again. My lord, the Iron Armor King is now heading towards our sister's warship. This subordinate request to fight. Seeing Jianin clenching his fists, the World Domination Country Lord smiled and shook his head. You are not his match. But are you as strong as the Nightmare King and the Fallen Feather King? Both of them died in battle. Do you think you'll be able to survive if you go out? The dominating world ruler sighed. Let me go. Monarch, you are the commander. How can you personally go to the battlefield? When I came here, I thought the Tianhai leader was the only one worth paying attention to in the Sacred Region Universe country. I didn't expect the Iron Armor Emperor to be here too. The tyrannical world ruler narrowed his eyes and said, Among us, the only one who can kill him is me. Then the job of commanding them. You do it. The ruler of World Domination Country glanced at Jianan. Don't worry, there won't be any problems. I'll come back after dealing with the Iron Armor King. As soon as he finished speaking, the World Domination ruler threw the armor on his back onto the ground. Open hatch. The ruler of the World Domination Country personally took part in the battle. In fact, with the Iron Armor King's current situation, it wasn't impossible to win if they sent a few more king-class masters. He just didn't want to do this. Him going out personally was a form of respect for the Iron Armor King. It had to be said that the World Domination Kingdom King did a very good job when facing experts and people who were worthy of respect. He had the heart to respect heroes. However, that didn't affect his disdain for the Milky Way Lord Yi Zichen. In his eyes, Yi Zichen wasn't a hero. At most, he was a lucky junior. However, this junior didn't know when to back down and spoke arrogantly. Naturally, he didn't have a good impression of him. Unlike the Iron Armor King, that was truly a hero of the human universe. The World Domination Country ruler is coming out personally. Hua Jinro frowned. Yi Zichen, this is an opportunity for us. When 2 armies fought, the highest commander would personally go to the battlefield. If they could kill him, it would definitely throw the enemy into chaos. Don't get any ideas. Yi Zichen glanced at her. What are you trying to say? Blast him with interstellar energy cannons? Big sis, that's a monarch we're talking about. If we could blast him to death, the Virtual World Corporation would have long since unified the universe. The Virtual World Corporation possessed the most advanced technology. Its technology wasn't limited to the virtual network. The Virtual World Corporation was actually the largest arms dealer in the universe. energy cannons, laser guns, anti-energy cannons, combat spaceships, interstellar battleships. The Virtual World Corporation was the largest producer of them all. If the energy cannons could kill a monarch, then the Virtual World Corporation wouldn't be afraid to jump up and fight the entire universe. The problem was these interstellar combat equipment could only threaten dukes at most. In other words, Duke-level experts could die to these weapons. However, the possibility of that happening was practically zero after reaching the king level. As for monarchs, there was no need to even think about it. I'm just saying that this is an opportunity. Hua Jianrou pouted. If that's really the case, then I've wronged you. I apologize. Yi Ziqin smiled warmly. You're right. If there really is a chance to kill the world domination country ruler, then it is indeed an opportunity for us. It's a taboo for a commander to personally enter the battlefield. You must remember this. In the future, all of you will rule over a region. During this period, if you don't have absolute confidence that you can survive, don't show yourself. Because if you die, it is very likely that it will affect the entire campaign. Meng Luo, Baiyu, Flame Rat, and the others all nodded. Xia Kiki and Su Yin also nodded slightly. Actually, the two of them understood this a long time ago. Just like what Xia Kiki always said in the past, I've watched so many dramas for nothing. The Iron Armor King is going to look for the world domination country lord. I can't bear to see him die, Meng Luo muttered. In front of a man who has already come to his senses, sorrow and sorrow are an insult to him. Yi Ziqin thought of a line from an anime he had seen before and said softly, "This is his choice. World domination, Iron Armor King." At this time, the world domination ruler and the Iron Armor King had already met. You should have come personally. If you had come, those kings wouldn't have died. They are the elites of the human race. Iron Armor King whispered, "You are the one who killed them." The ruler of world domination country said, "You too." The Iron Armor King narrowed his eyes and whispered, "You should know very well that if they come to me, they will only die. You deliberately sent them to their deaths and borrowed my hand to kill them for you. Are they your opponent's subordinates? Why are you doing this? Don't slander me. I'm not interested either." The Iron Armor King stood in front of the world domination ruler. The wounds on his body were still bleeding. "I hope you can hear me here. Is it that urgent?" "What?" "Iron Armor King, you're going to die anyway. Death is also your long-cherished wish. I can fulfill your long-cherished wish. But can you answer a question of mine?" "What is it?" "Their sacred universe country is still planning something else, right?" Chapter 2747. A long, drawn-out silence filled the air. No matter how intense the battle between the two sides was, the World Domination King and the Iron Armor King stood facing each other in space, separated by a distance of 1,000 meters. Huh. Suddenly, the Iron Armor King laughed. "You want to know about this sacred region?" "Not really." The World Domination King smiled and shook his head. "It doesn't matter if they have other plans or not. In the end, they'll definitely be destroyed. They have no way out, right?" "You really aren't honest." "Quirrell, you were like this when I was your instructor." The Iron Armor King laughed. "Your time as an instructor was also my most unforgettable memory." If Yi Ziqin and the others were here and heard the conversation between the Iron Armor King and the World Domination King, it was hard to imagine just how shocked they would be. The Iron Armor King had once been the World Domination King's instructor. One could only imagine. Just how long had this senior lived? The Nightmare King was his student, and the World Domination King could also be considered as half a student of his. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that the Iron Armor King was a living fossil of the human universe. However, he could also sense how lonely the Iron Armor King was. His juniors had already surpassed him. He probably didn't feel good about it either. "I still remember when I first joined the Outskirts Garrison. You were already a peak king back then. Once, you took a few of us new recruits on a mission against the cannibals. 3 Monarch-level experts discovered us, and it was you who stood up and resisted their attacks, allowing us to escape." The World Domination King couldn't help but look up with a nostalgic look in his eyes. "It's true. Ever since then, your majestic image has never faded from my mind. Your astonishing defense still astounds me even now. Yi Zichen could sense the sincerity in the world domination king's expression. Furthermore, he didn't seem to have any intention of attacking the Iron Armor King. He simply stood in front of the Iron Armor King, as if he was truly reminiscing about the past. "That is indeed an unforgettable memory," the Iron Armor King said. Iron Armor King did not deny it. "To me, this memory is very precious. The people who were in the same batch as you were at least marquises. Do you still keep in touch?" "Yes. I still remember that you were particularly fond of that golden-haired girl. Ire? She's my wife now." The dominating world ruler smiled and said, "We are very happy, and we already have 3 children." "Really? Now that you're married, there might be some things that I can't tell you. If you have anything to say, just say it." "Ire, that woman is not a good person." The Iron Armor King whispered, "Back then, your group of 40 people had sex with her. That's why I kept advising you to stay away from her." "Are you among them?" "No." The Iron Armor King shook his head calmly. "I'm not interested in a woman like that. I just didn't expect you to marry her. I hope what I said won't ruin your relationship." "I won't." The world-dominating ruler's gaze remained gentle as he said, "I've known all this for a long time. After I married her, I shattered her soul with one palm strike. I also killed everyone who had sex with her. No one survived." It was hard to imagine that the world-dominating country's king could still say such a thing with a smile. It didn't matter who killed his wife, or that those humans were like ants to her. They weren't even insects to her, and didn't disgust him at all. "It seems like something you would do." The Iron Armor King was not surprised at all. "I used to think that she might be related to you, instructor, but I don't know. But now that I think about it, you aren't that kind of person. Now that you've said it yourself, the knot in my heart has been resolved." The world-dominating country ruler bowed with a smile. The dominating world ruler smiled and bowed. "I'm really grateful to you. It's very likely that I'll be able to step into the honorable realm with your help. If that's the case, I'm very happy." The Iron Armor King smiled. As they spoke, Yi Zichen and the others were watching the scene through the warship's radar. The world-dominating country ruler is bowing to the Iron Armor King? The flame rat pointed at the screen. There's nothing strange about it. The Iron Armor King has been famous for a long time. When he was crowned king, our fathers were only at the universe level. What's more, the Iron Armor King has served as a teacher in the Outer Realms several times. He has students all over the universe. The world-dominating country ruler might be his student as well, Hua Jinro replied. Then she frowned. "I just don't know what they're talking about." "You're suspicious?" Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. "That world-dominating country ruler looks very cunning. I suspect that he's using this method to get information from the Iron Armor King." Hua Jinro's expression turned solemn. Then she snuck a glance at Yi Zichen. "I'm right about that, right?" "Of course." "Hua Jinro, be more confident." Yi Zichen didn't want to see Hua Jinro's retort last time to cause her to lose her confidence. "Okay." Hua Jinro blushed. Xia Ku, who was standing at the side, nudged Su Yin with her elbow and pouted. "There's a problem. You..." Su Yin pushed Xia Kik's head gently. "What's the point of caring about that? It doesn't matter if there's one more or one less. You have a baby already." "All right." Xia Kiki shrugged. "Great deity, if Hua Jia's suspicions are correct, then what should we do now?" Meng Luo blinked. "We can't let him leak the secret. Trust." Yi Zichen slowly spat out 2 words. Everyone in the cabin frowned. In the universe, trust was probably the most expensive word. Although there weren't as many complicated schemes as on Earth, betrayal were not rare. What's more, the range of temptations in the universe was much wider. When the time comes, the person you trust the most will stab you in the back. Just like Tianhai. He was betrayed by his wives, which caused the sacred region's cosmic nation to be destroyed so quickly. Trust is too extravagant. There's no point in doubting him now. Can you just go out and kill him? Yi Zichen shrugged. Trust the Iron Armor King instead of doubting him. What's more, I believe that a person who can become a national hero would definitely be reasonable. Aren't we going to make some adjustments? Don't tell him about our strategy? Hua Jinro frowned. I'm already doing what I need to do. Yi Zichen glanced at Bei Li, who was busy on his shoulder. One shouldn't have the heart to harm others, but one shouldn't have the heart to guard against others. However, I'm still willing to trust the Iron Armor King. He won't say anything. Chapter 2748. Trust. Actually, sometimes it was very extravagant, just like the situation before his eyes. If Iron Armor King really divulged the intel of the Sacred Universe country, it would have a huge impact on the future. He wanted to obtain the final victory. The energy cannons within the planets were the Sacred Universe country's trump cards. If the World Dominator country found out, then he would make preparations beforehand. When that time came, they wouldn't be able to catch them off guard. It was just that, for some reason, even though he didn't have any contact with Iron Armor King, they didn't even speak a single word. He was still willing to believe that Iron Armor King wouldn't say anything. Iron Armor King's life history. This was the portrayal of a hero. Even though his strength had indeed stagnated in his later years, his entire life had been righteous and outspoken. He had given his life to the human race. This time, the Sacred Universe country had suffered a fatal blow. He was here to repay a debt of gratitude. With his character, he definitely wouldn't do something like betraying the Sacred Universe country. Instructor, I know you definitely wouldn't divulge any intel about the Sacred Universe country. The World Dominator country leader smiled and waved his hands. Your character, your entire life, has always been the representative of justice. If you were to divulge the inner workings of the Sacred Universe country and cause them to fail, it would be a stain on your reputation. Then why are you still wasting your breath here? Iron Armor King laughed out loud. However, have you ever thought, you're doing this for the entire human race? The World Dominator country leader took a deep breath. War, there will be death. If the internal strife of our human race is too much, have you ever thought about the future alien races we might be giving them an opportunity to take advantage of? You can say that. Iron Armor King didn't comment on this. The internal strife of the human race was indeed due to the internal strife of the human race. The alien races had always eyed the human race like tigers watching their prey. They had never thought of giving up the fight for human territory and had always been waiting for opportunities to cause trouble for the human race. The internal strife of the human race was exactly what they wanted to see. Also, the constant strife would result in the deaths of large numbers of human warriors. For example, just now, he had personally dealt with a number of king-level warriors. These people were all existences that possessed deterrent power in the outer realms. They were the core strength of the human race. If the internal losses were too great, the other races would inevitably attack the human race. At that time, the human race would be embroiled in endless internal strife, and foreign races would attack. The human race would fall into a crisis. He really didn't want to see such a scene. Instructor, this is an opportunity in front of you. Actually, I can confidently tell you, even if the Sacred Universe country had other plans, they would still be wiped out eventually. The words of the world domination ruler were very certain. This time, I brought 20 million people, but you should know that there are still billions of soldiers behind us. The destruction of the Sacred Region Universe country is already a foregone conclusion. I believe you. Iron Armor King nodded. If that's the case, why don't you tell me everything? That way, we won't lose more elites, right? The dominating world ruler said in a low voice. Indeed, the Iron Armor King nodded his head lightly. It was obvious that he agreed with the words of the World Domination King. What a pity. I don't know anything. The Iron Armor King's eyes were filled with regret, gently shrugging his shoulders. Right now, the person in charge of the Sacred Universe country is Nyo Mang, and you know my personality. I'm a rather solitary person, and I don't really care about anything. What does the Sacred Universe country have, or what preparations they have? I've never asked, and have no interest in asking. If you want to get any useful information from me, I can only apologize to you. The Iron Armor King's expression was very honest. The World Domination King squinted his eyes. Instructor, it's already come to this. If you continue to hide, it'll be pointless. The World Domination King licked his lips. Even if you don't know anything, can't you see that I want to know the situation within the star? Why don't you just investigate? Why are you asking me? The star you're on is surrounded by a layer of high-level universe energy. Our surveillance equipment has no way of investigating inside. The world domination king frowned. Such high-level energy, even I can't produce it. It's at least a night level. However, isn't Sky C heavily injured? He is indeed heavily injured. Then where did this barrier come from? And who made it? What's hidden inside? And why did they use an energy barrier to hide it? I don't know. The Iron Armor King maintained his initial smile, his eyes filled with an indescribable emotion. It was as though his eyes had already seen through everything. Instructor, enough world domination. The Iron Armor King shook his head. Why do you have to be like this? Since you're sure you'll win in the end, then just do it. I don't want people to die. Don't tell me you want to see that. But aren't you doing it right now? The Iron Armor King squinted his eyes, pointing at the soldiers clashing outside. If you don't want people to die, then you should back out of this war. You're clearly doing it. What's the point of saying all those nice words? Instructor. Don't call me instructor. To be honest, I actually regret saving you back then. The Iron Armor King's eyes suddenly darkened. Actually, from the moment I first met you, I didn't particularly like you. You're a person with a lot of thoughts, jealousy, possessiveness, a thirst for status, a yearning for power. To put it simply, your personality is very extreme. Is that so? The World Domination King muttered. Let me ask you, did you kill the children that she gave birth to? Yes. See? The Iron Armor King spread his hands and laughed. Some of them must be your own flesh and blood. Or should I say, they're actually your flesh and blood. That's right. The World Domination King said coldly. Why did you kill them? Their mother wasn't clean. I pursued her to kill her. The World Domination King snorted. That's why I said your personality is too extreme. The Iron Armor King muttered. No matter how slutty she was, at least those children were innocent. Also, are you sure you really want to get information? What do you mean? World domination. Don't forget, you're taught by me. As his voice fell, the Iron Armor King suddenly stepped into space, and an energy ripple spread out from his feet. Less than 2 kilometers later, the energy ripple suddenly stopped. You've sealed the surrounding space, haven't you? From the moment you saw me, you've already sealed the space and even expelled the earth element from it, all to make me lose the ability to control the earth element. World domination. Do you really think I don't know? The Iron Armor King shook his head with a bitter smile and immediately clenched his fist. Boom! The ceiling barrier shattered the moment he clenched his fist. Unfortunately, you can't seal me. Inexplicably, the World Domination King's eyes widened. The Iron Armor King also grinned. Don't think that you're the only ruler. World domination, don't look down on others. In an instant, the Iron Armor King's surroundings suddenly emitted a dignified pressure of the universe. This pressure was at the level of a monarch. Chapter 2749. Iron Armor Emperor. No, it should be the Iron Armor Country leader now. The dominating world ruler's eyes widened as he retreated in an instant. Even though Iron Armor Emperor hadn't broken through, he still needed to seal the space and repel the earth element. Only then would he have a 100% chance of killing him. It wasn't that he didn't have confidence in himself. It was just that he understood Iron Armor Emperor's strength too well. Back then, when Iron Armor Emperor was still an instructor in outer space, he had battled multiple country lords. His service with the Overlord ended. He had always paid attention to news of Iron Armor Emperor and knew of his achievements in the outer space battlefields. Country lords he had killed before, and not just once. That was thousands of years ago, even tens of thousands of years ago. Back then, Iron Armor Emperor was already that strong. Now, his strength was definitely even stronger than back then. The Overlord country leader had to be careful against him. Hence, he purposely used this method of gathering information, talking about his memories from back then, to distract Iron Armor Emperor and seal the space around him. When the time came, he would deal a fatal blow to Iron Armor Emperor. Who would have thought? He broke through. You're a country lord. When did you break through? Seeing Iron Armor Emperor break through, the Overlord country leader swallowed his saliva, his eyes filled with shock, Why hasn't anyone told anyone about your breakthrough? You've been hiding it from the entire universe. Fuck. Knowing that Iron Armor Emperor was here, the Overlord country leader was already regretting his decision to come here to destroy the sacred universe country. He was hard to deal with. Only those who understood him would know. He was thinking, if Tian Hai suddenly attacked him while he was fighting with the Iron Armor King, he would not be able to escape. He didn't even dare think about winning. He was thinking about whether he could survive. Now, Iron Armor Emperor had become a country lord. He wanted to retreat. The merits of the sacred universe country could be taken by whoever came. He didn't want to touch this hot potato anymore. I didn't hide it. If I really broke through, I would report it to the universe. Iron Armor Emperor laughed and shrugged. Actually, it's quite a coincidence, just now. I have to thank Little Black. He let me see what I wanted to see. I broke through. Just broke through. Right. The Iron Armor King did not refute. His nod confirmed that he was now the ruler of the Iron Armor Nation. Instructor, I really have to congratulate you then. The world domination ruler narrowed his eyes. Congratulations on your breakthrough. I feel that there's no need for us to fight. As the world domination ruler spoke, he retreated. Suddenly, as he was retreating, he bumped into a barrier. He raised his hand and touched it. When you were setting up the barrier, I was also setting it up. Of course, compared to your petty thoughts, I am actually not as bad as you. The range of the barrier I set up is quite large. The Iron Armor King shrugged lightly. This sealed area is enough for the two of us to move around. King of the Armored Nation, do you think you can seal me? The dominating world ruler laughed. In terms of the universe realm, he was at the pinnacle of country lords. He was just one step away from becoming a venerable. The Iron Armor King had just broken through. The world domination ruler was confident that he could break through the barrier with a single punch. Try it. The Iron Armor Nation King shrugged. My enchantment wasn't set up using the energy of the universe. I used the earth element to condense the enchantment. If your control of the earth element is not as good as mine, you will definitely not be able to break it. What? The world domination ruler frowned. He clenched his right hand into a fist and punched the barrier. A deafening sound could be heard. However, when his fist, which could shatter a planet, landed on the barrier, it did not even cause the slightest ripple. This, world domination, stop struggling. You won't be able to get out. The Iron Armor King's expression was filled with confidence. He had absolute confidence in his control of the earth element. He even dared to speak arrogantly. In the entire universe, if he said that his control of the earth element was second, no one would dare to say that they were first, including the Supremes. His control of the earth element had reached its limit. What are you trying to do? The world domination ruler creased his eyebrows, looking at the battered Iron Armor King. You're just like a lamp that has run out of oil. In your current state, you won't be able to kill me. I advise you to release the seal. Both of us will take a step back. I'll bring my people and leave, you go back and rest. That is indeed a good suggestion. The Iron Armor King laughed and nodded after hearing it. If the world domination ruler retreated, the crisis facing the Saint Universe country would be resolved. However, it was a pity he wasn't that stupid. If the world domination ruler left, the next time to attack the Saint Universe country would be the Knights. Even if he had recovered some of his strength during this period of time, against the Knights, he had no confidence in being able to help Sky see. You don't want to accept it. The world domination ruler squinted his eyes. Iron Armor King, I've endured for tens of thousands of years before taking another step forward. This step was not easy to come by. Don't make a mistake. I am a pinnacle ruler. Right? The Iron Armor King nodded. I know. Then you... However, I'm not prepared to let you go. The Iron Armor King shrugged. If you really want to leave, kill me. Iron Armor King, that's your only way. The Iron Armor King said firmly. The surrounding earth elemental energy is bound to me. Either I release the seal, or I die. I can't release it on my own accord. Then, your only way is to kill me. Then I'll have to offend you. The moment the Iron Armor King's words landed, the world domination ruler didn't hesitate at all. His feet stepped on a raging wind. In his hands, a sawtooth curved blade appeared. Dang! The curved blade and hammer clashed, emitting a crisp sound. The Iron Armor King didn't move at all, but the world domination ruler was pushed back a few steps. Even the Iron Armor King's weapon was broken. Iron Armor King, what a pity. Your universe energy is so dense that even I can't compare to it. However, your weapon is too weak. The world domination ruler laughed. This weapon of mine is an overlord-level weapon bestowed upon me by the Azure Moonstar Lord. Your battle hammer seems to be at a country level, right? Yes. The Iron Armor King nodded. It is indeed a pity the weapon is a little weak. This time around, I will win for sure. The world domination ruler laughed heartily despite the fact that the Iron Armor King's breakthrough had caught him off guard. However, his weapon wasn't strong enough. In the universe, strength was very important, genetic energy was very important, but weapons were equally important. In terms of proportion, weapons could account for 50% of one's overall strength. Sometimes, possessing a good weapon was even more important than strength. Is that so? Are you sure? The Iron Armor King actually tossed the twin hammers in his hands into space right in front of the world domination ruler. What are you doing? The world domination ruler's gaze sank. In the blink of an eye, fear could be seen in his eyes. Iron Armor King, you are crazy. You just broke through to the monarch level. Leave with me, world domination. As the sound of his voice faded, the Iron Armor King's divine body directly flew out from his body and rapidly expanded. Boom. Chapter 2750. What's going on with the Iron Armor King? I think he attacked. Why did he suddenly stop? Meng Luo and company whispered to each other in the cabin. Not long later, they saw a blinding flash of light in outer space. So blinding. Meng Luo covered her eyes and didn't dare to look outside. What's going on? Why is it suddenly so bright? The flame rat squinted its eyes. Yi Zichen frowned. Not good. The Iron Armor King self-destructed. Before he could finish. Boom! A deafening sound reverberated through outer space. Waves of energy surged outwards the moment the Iron Armor King self-destructed. Even the world domination country's ruler couldn't break through the energy barrier, which instantly shattered under the divine body self-destruction. The violent energy instantly swept through outer space. Run! The world domination country's ruler shouted. Brothers, explode. Almost as soon as the armored country king blew himself up, all the warriors of death above the titled rank activated their divine bodies and blew themselves up. Everyone below the titled level self-destructed. Boom, boom, boom. The sounds of self-destruction rang out everywhere. The powerful shockwave of cosmic energy instantly affected Yi Zichen and company in the cabin. Protect the Lord. Winnie and Aelin stood in front of Yi Zichen and joined hands to set up an energy barrier. Unfortunately, the self-destruction of a king. The shockwave was unimaginable. They didn't even have time to finish setting up the barrier. The glass in the cabin instantly shattered, and so did the half-completed barrier. 5 elements barrier. At that moment, Yi Zichen slammed his hand into the cabin. All 5 elemental spirits appeared. They used the 5 elements of the heavens to set up a one-sided barrier in front of them to block the shockwave. The shockwave came too quickly. There was no time to set up a complete 5 elements barrier. The shockwave exploded. Even the cabin of the warship was destroyed. Aelin, Winnie, yes. Aelin and Winnie immediately understood. They ignored the backlash from the shattered barrier and set up another one around them, then reinforced it. Emperor Star, we can't hold on any longer. The 5 elemental spirits spoke up at the same time. It was clear from their expressions just how much pain they were in. I can't. Crack. The 5 elements barrier shattered. The elemental sprite was instantly enveloped by the energy. Come back. Yi Zichen shouted, then absorbed the elemental fairy into his arm. Lord, we also. Dong. Winnie and Aelin were instantly sent flying by the shockwave. Time, stop. The time elemental fairy sensed that Yi Zichen was in danger and suddenly appeared beside him. Wei Wei, how did you reverse time? She gritted her teeth and withstood the shockwave of the country lord's self-destruction. Pooh! All of a sudden, she spat out a mouthful of blood that seemed to belong to the human race. At this point, Yi Zichen and the others no longer had any means of resisting the energy attacks. Thump, thump, thump. Everyone in the cabin was sent flying. Yi Zichen reflexively grabbed the two people closest to him. He hugged Meng Luo and Xia Kiki tightly. He used his body to block the attack for them. A monarch-level divine body, self-destructing. On the child star, Tianhai, who had already recovered, narrowed his eyes and raised his palm towards the sky. Suddenly, an energy barrier appeared in the sky above the child star. The energy from the Iron Armor King's self-destruction was completely blocked by the barrier. Boom! The two planets around the child star were instantly shattered by the shockwave. The planet split. Countless meteorites flew in all directions. Little brother, Yi isn't on the planet. Is he in outer space? Tianhai, who had scanned the area with cosmic energy, frowned deeply. His eyes were filled with anxiety as he raised his hand. He couldn't retreat now. If he retreated, the child star wouldn't be able to withstand the shockwave. A king? Just where did this king come from? Could it be from the other side? He's self-destructed. Tianhai looked towards outer space solemnly. Little brother Yi, you have to be safe. The explosion of energy lasted for 10-odd seconds. In these 10 or so seconds, the space outside the planet had undergone an earth-shattering change. Cough, cough, cough. The first to climb out of the cabin was Hua Jianrou. The moment she stood up, she felt intense pain. She looked down and saw that her ribs seemed to have been shattered. She wasn't in the mood to worry about this. Yi Zichen, Little White, Meng Luo. By now, their battleship no longer had a roof. All that was left was a small platform to stand on. Big Sister Hua. At that moment, a flame rat pushed aside a huge metal plate. I'm here. My left leg seems to be broken. I can't feel it. Hua Jinro looked down and immediately covered her mouth with her hand. It wasn't broken. It was gone. Glancing to the side, he was surprised to see a broken leg on the ground in the cabin. If she was right, the metal plate of the battleship must have cut off the flame rat's leg under the impact of the shockwave. Big sister. Is my leg. Don't look. Hua Jinro covered the flame rat's eyes. The flame rat seemed to have guessed something. My leg. Is it gone? Flame rat, don't worry. Big sister will take you back and find the best healer to help you recover. Big sister, don't be so emotional. I'm already a commander. I can use the universe's energy to recover myself. The flame rat suddenly laughed. The flame rat suddenly laughed out loud. Hua Jinro, who was about to cry, also laughed out loud. All right, I forgot. Sorry. With that, she slapped the back of the flame rat's head. It's all your fault. The moment you call me big sister, I almost got into it. If you can recover, then hurry up and recover. What are you blanking out for? Hurry up and get up. Yi Zichen and company seem to have been swept into space. Where do I have the extra universe's energy? The flame rat pushed aside the metal plate and stepped into space with one foot. Let's find the great deity and company first. Find your ass. Can you move away first? Suddenly, Yi Zichen's voice sounded out from the ruins. Don't you feel awkward? There's something under there? Ah. The flame rat and Hua Jinro both looked down. Under the metal plate where the flame rat was, everyone in the cabin was under there. No flesh could be seen on Yi Zichen's back, but Xia Kiki and Meng Luo were fine. You guys are fine. Yi Zichen smiled. We're fine. Meng Luo's face was covered in dust, while Xia Kiki also shook her head blankly. Baiyu Ailin Winnie. Yi Zichen nudged the people beside him, then let out a long sigh. He smiled towards Su Yan, who was surrounded by a green glow. Su Yan, please. This is what I should do. Su Yan smiled warmly, then raised her hand high in the air as she stood in the middle of the nearly destroyed cabin. Life. Healing. Chapter 2751. Gentle healing light sprinkled over the cabin. The people who were seriously injured by the explosion of the Armored Nation King's self-destruction had their expressions of pain disappear the moment the healing light poured down, replaced by a comfortable expression. In less than half a minute, everyone's wounds were almost completely healed. Winnie and Aelin's realms were much higher than Su Yan's, so Su Yan's healing light wasn't as effective on them. Still, it was somewhat effective. At least now, they could move freely. Wow, big sister, you're a life healer. Meng Luo, her face dirty, cried out in surprise. Your life force is so pure, even purer than my clan's senior life healers. So you're a life healer. Hua Jinro rubbed her chest in shock. Su Yan, your life force is so pure. Baiyu pursed his lips, his eyes filled with shock. Baiyu pursed his lips, his eyes revealing shock. My family has 2 life healing masters who are at the monarch rank, but their life force isn't as pure as yours. It's like our own life force. Our Susu is really amazing. Xia Kiki crossed her arms. It's not as bad as you make it out to be. I just know a bit of healing. Su Yan was as gentle as ever. In the face of everyone's praise, she even bit her lip shyly. From the looks of it, our team is really strong. Meng Luo tilted her head and smiled. We have the great god and big sister Baiyu as our brains. We have the great god and big sister Hua as our tactical analysts. We have the great god, big sister Baiyu, and the flame rat. We have the great god and big sister Su Lu for control. We have the great god and big sister Hua for support. And most importantly, we have a life healer. When she mentioned life healers, Meng Luo's tone was filled with excitement. She couldn't help but be excited. Life healers were rare in the universe. Even some large families didn't necessarily have one. Previously, the Tulip family had made a huge promise to get Su Yan to join them. Now, their trial team had a life healer. In other words, they wouldn't have to worry about getting hurt when carrying out missions in the future. They just had to protect Su Yan. That way, they could always maintain peak condition. This was the so-called healer. As long as the healer didn't die, the team wouldn't be destroyed. Furthermore, they'd all sensed that Su Yan's life force was terrifyingly pure. Even the rulers of their clans couldn't compare to Su Yan's elemental energy. Perhaps those seniors were more efficient in healing. More life force was released. In terms of purity, it was far inferior to Su Yan's life force. Yeah, Su Yan, it's great to have you here. Baiyu smiled warmly and nodded. In the future, if we get hurt in the trials, we'll leave it to you. We'll also do our best to protect you. Protecting the wet nurse is everyone's responsibility. The flame rat shouted. I'm an assault type. Su Luer muttered. Oh, big sis Luer, you're a strong attacker. Actually, it's better if you play crowd control. Meng Luo blinked and said, Our team lacks control. What control? Do you think this is a game? Hua Jian patted Meng Luo. Ahem. Meng Luo, please explain. What did you just say? Apart from healing, I was nominated for everything else. Yi Zichen asked. Great God is all around. Look at you. You can fight, you can analyze, and you have the 5 elemental spirits. Yeah, I can do anything. Capable people do more work. Then what are you and Xia Kiki doing? Baiyu asked. I haven't finished yet, Meng Luo giggled. In the end, it's just me and Xia Kiki, the 2 salted fish. We'll just cheer from the back. You really know how to find your own position. Hua Jianro laughed. I'm not a salted fish. Xia Kiki suddenly stood up. I'm very strong. Me too. Meng Luo opened her eyes wide and put her hands on her hips. Yes, we're not salted fish. We're experts hidden behind the team. As long as the team isn't destroyed, we won't easily make a move. That's right. Xia Kiki agreed. Flame rat, right? Su Yan pursed her lips and walked in front of the flame rat. Please sit on the ground. I can help you heal your broken leg. Really? Thank you so much. The flame rat obediently sat on the ground, although he could use the energy of the universe to regrow his limbs. However, it required a large amount of energy in order to defend against the energy attack, and also because of his survival instincts, he had already used up all of his energy. What's more, using the power of the universe to regrow limbs would also cause a certain amount of damage to the body. Sometimes the damage might even be permanent. Life healers were different. Their healing was completely reliant on life energy, so it didn't put any burden on the body. Su Yin squatted in front of the flame rat and performed limb regrowth. Xia Kiki, Meng Luo, and the others all chatted and laughed. Even the iceberg big sister, Su Luter, smiled in response to the atmosphere. Even Aelin's lips were curling up. Yi Zichen smiled in his heart when he saw this harmonious scene. The energy impact this time seemed to have brought everyone back from the brink of life and death. Originally, there were still some grudges between them, but at this moment, they were solidified. This was what a team should be like. If there was always disharmony in the team, then the team wouldn't last long. Kiki, what's your unique technique? Meng Luo muttered to herself. Are you really that strong? Or are you just bragging? Of course I'm really strong. I'm the clan head. Is that so? Me too. Meng Luo nodded excitedly. What clan are you from? I'm from the Spirit Rabbit clan. Xia Kiki tilted her head and giggled. I'm not telling you. In any case, my clan is really strong. We can eat hundreds of spirit rabbits in one bite. So you're also the clan head of the Spirit Beast clan? Meng Luo blinked. Tell me, what's your true form? I'm a little white rabbit with a blue mark on its head. I'm not telling you. As Meng Luo chased Xia Kiki around asking questions, Yi Zichen narrowed his eyes and looked around. What happened just now? Why was the energy attack so strong? His divine body self-destructed, muttered Winnie. Winnie said in a low voice, the Iron Armor King self-destructed. Is that so? Yi Zichen sighed inexplicably. A hero's downfall. The self-destruction of a king-level expert was actually that powerful. Yi Zichen quickly steered the conversation back on track. The Iron Armor King's self-destruction was indeed regrettable, but now wasn't the time for them to mourn. Lord, the Iron Armor King wasn't a king-level expert, Winnie muttered. Winnie whispered, or we shouldn't call him the Iron Armor King. Not the Iron Armor King? Yes, he's the ruler of the Iron Armor Nation. Chapter 2752. King, isn't Senior Armored King a king ranked? Meng Luo, who was chasing after Xia Kiki, tilted her head and asked in a childish voice. Soon after, she covered her mouth in shock and widened her eyes. Senior, did he break through? The others also fell silent with solemn expressions. For the current human race, king level was already the peak of humanity. Although they weren't as rare as overlords and sovereigns, king level was still the pillar of humanity. King level self-destruction. Even in the history of the universe, the number of king-level divine bodies self-destructing could be counted on one's fingers. The prerequisite for self-destruction was that the divine body had to be at least 80% intact. Even if they were in danger, the chances of survival were very high. Even if their divine body was damaged, they wouldn't choose self-destruction, because if they self-destructed, their lives would truly end. There would be no chance of recovery. Everyone knew that. Cultivation wasn't easy to come by. How many people could bear to end their lives by self-destructing? What's more, self-destructing while their divine body was intact. They had completely given up all hope of survival. Did he choose to self-destruct after breaking through to the king level? Yi Zichen frowned, then quickly stood up. Wait, let's retreat. What is it, great deity? Meng Luo blinked. Hua Jinro and the others looked over in confusion. Why did Yi Zichen suddenly act like this? Just now, Armored King and World Domination were together, right? Could he have killed World Domination's king by self-destructing? Asked Yi Zichen. There's a chance. Then it's not definite. Yi Zichen said solemnly. What if World Domination's king attacks now? Our warship is already destroyed. All of a sudden, everyone's hearts skipped a beat. Niu Meng. Lord, I'm here. Niu Meng's voice sounded out from the communicator. Yi Zichen let out a sigh when he heard Niu Meng's voice. How are our people doing? Not too good. Niu Meng frowned as he looked at the people around him. The self-destruction just now had a huge impact on them. At the very least, Yi Zichen and the others were still in the ship's hold. Furthermore, they were relatively far from the battlefield, so they had a certain amount of time to react. Niu Meng and the others were in the battle zone. After the Armored Nation King self-destructed, they were instantly hit by the first round of attacks. The Deathsworn warriors seemed to have received some sort of signal. They also began to self-detonate their divine bodies and energy. Instantly, Meng Nio and the others suffered a second impact. Can we evacuate safely? It's more difficult. Hearing the voice from the communicator, Niu Meng furrowed his brows. Our manned spaceships and combat spaceships have all been destroyed by the energy generated from the self-detonation. Right now, there are no vehicles left. Many people have already exhausted the energy of the universe and are unable to carry out long-distance space flight. Not even 5,000 kilometers? Yes, this was definitely not good news. Yi Zichen frowned, while everyone else in the cabin also heard Niu Meng's reply. Should we send a spaceship from within our planet? Baiyu gave a tentative suggestion. That's right. This might make the world domination emperor suspicious. Suyen, can you still hold on? Yi Zichen tilted his head. Naturally, I'm fine. No matter what. Suyen had already stepped into the universe level. Although she was relatively weak compared to the people in the cabin, she was able to release more healing light after reaching the universe level. Using it on Yi Zichen and the others didn't cost her anything at all. Niu Meng, report your location. We're at. Not long later, Niu Meng reported the universe's coordinates. Yi Zichen glanced at Winnie. Winnie, take them back to the twin planet. Lord, what about you? Winnie frowned. I have to go with Su Yin to Niu Meng. We definitely can't expose the planet's internal defenses. I'll take Su Yin to treat them. We'll go as well. Hua Jinro said. What are you guys going for? You're not healers, nor are you strong combatants. What's the point of going? Yi Zichen said sternly. Don't cause trouble. Go back to the twin planet and wait for me. Also, Bailey, tell Tianhai not to leave the twin planet. In addition to preparing for battle, Tianhai was their final trump card in this battle. They absolutely couldn't let the world domination kingdom know of Tianhai's recovery. As for why Yi Zichen was certain of Tianhai's recovery, it was because the time elemental fairy had returned. She'd arrived in front of Yi Zichen, which meant Tianhai had already recovered. Lord, how about I come with you? Winnie frowned. If they suddenly attack? I don't think so. Yi Zichen shook his head. Our defenses suffered an energy attack. The world domination kingdom is definitely in an even worse state than we are. Actually, this is actually an advantage for us. It's an advantage that the Iron Armor King has established for us. The world domination kingdom's fleet didn't have any cover. Whether it was their spaceships, battleships, or other resources, they were all damaged by the energy attack. On the other hand, Yi Zichen and the others had stored most of their defenses on the twin planet. From where they were, they could see that the twin planet was safe and sound. This meant that Tianhai had already protected the twin planet in time. Naturally, their defenses weren't damaged at all. In other words, this time's explosion caused the battle preparations of the World Dominator country and the Saint Galaxy Universe country to undergo a drastic change. This would drastically change the course of the battle. Even so, the price they'd pay was enormous. Exchanging the self-detonation of a country's ruler for this sort of advantage was absolutely not worth it. We're only one step away from victory. Don't act recklessly. Winnie, take Meng Luo and the others back. Yi Zichen ordered. Yes, Lord. Big brother Zichen, I'll go with you. Xia Kiki bit her lip. I can take you and Susu. You? Yi Zichen looked at her expectant gaze and hesitated. Easy. Let Kiki go, said Su Yin. Kiki is faster in space than the two of us. I think it's fine to let her go. But, big brother Zichen, let me go with you. Kiki, you can take people? Meng Luo rushed over excitedly. Just what race are you? I'm really curious. All right, let's go. Yi Zichen nodded in response to Xia Kiki's expectant gaze. But you have to listen to me. I've always listened to you, no matter when. Xia Kiki giggled and nodded. Then she tilted her head and glanced at Meng Luo. Little rabbit, I'll show you my true form. I can eat a few hundred of you in one bite without any problems. Great, great. Meng Luo clapped her hands excitedly. Xia Kiki grinned. A golden dragon, several hundred meters long, appeared in the sky. How is it? Are you scared? Xia Kiki spat out the truth. Meng Luo and the others' eyes widened in shock. You're a dragon. Chapter 2753. Dragon Race. There were records of the dragon race in the human universe. However, the dragon race suffered a great loss a long time ago, and the number of dragons in the entire universe might not even exceed 100,000. Xiaqi's main body. It was actually a 5-clawed golden dragon. You're scared, right? Xiaqi laughed out loud. Little rabbit, you better be obedient in the future. Otherwise, I might eat you up in one bite. All right, stop joking around. Winnie, take them back. Yi Zichen said softly. Yes. Kiki Suyin, let's go. The two of them landed on Xiaqi's back, while Ailin followed closely behind. The 5-clawed golden dragon flew further and further away in front of Meng Lu and Su Yan. I saw a dragon. The flame rat stared at Xiaqi's back in shock. The flame rat stared dumbfoundedly at Xiaqi's departing figure. Sis, hurry up and slap me. I think I'm dreaming. I'll give you a kick. Hua Jianro kicked the flame rat, causing it to crash into the metal walls of the cabin. It's actually real. I have to tell my mom. I have to tell her that I saw a dragon. Don't. Suddenly, Baiyu grabbed the flame rat. Let's not talk about this. The dragon race is of great importance. Let's not talk about it. Oh my god, Kiki is actually a dragon. She can't really be going to eat me, right? Are you that tasty? Hua Jianro twitched her mouth. She's just scaring you. Would she really eat you? You spiritual rabbits are so small, you can't even fill the gaps between the dragon race's teeth. No way, I look really tasty to me. Meng Luo glared at her seriously, then pulled up her clothes, revealing her white arms. Her arms were as white as jade, like jelly. In order to show how tasty she was, she purposely sniffed her arms, revealing an infatuated expression. I really want to bite myself. Just be a human, okay? Hua Jianro was speechless. Hurry up and return to the child star. Don't make Yi Zichen worry. As for the dragon race, Baiyu is right, we shouldn't talk about it. Flame rat, especially you, don't tell your mom everything. You're like a mommy's baby. Oh, I won't say it. Don't call me a mommy's baby. You are. I'm not. Life. Heal. The emerald green light of life sprinkled down from space. Yi Zichen tilted his head and looked at Xiaqi, who was standing obediently in front of him and smiling like a young girl. He couldn't help but sigh in his heart. What kind of illness did she have? At that time, her aging was not fake. Why did she suddenly behave like that? Yi Zichen was truly afraid that she would suddenly return to her previous self. He cared about Xiaqi's aging appearance. He was afraid that he would lose her. Zichen Gij, I'm still very useful, right? Xiaqi said. Kiki, what's wrong with you? Yi Zichen knitted his brows. Did something happen while I wasn't on Earth? Xiaqi was confused. Yi Zichen thought for a moment, then let out a sigh. He did not continue, and merely rubbed Xiaqi's head. You're very useful. That's good. Xiaqiqi smiled. I was afraid that I would be a burden to you when we get to the universe. It's great that I'm useful. Yi Zichen could see a sort of satisfaction in both her tone and expression. She was very happy that she could be of help to Yi Zichen. Yi Zichen's heart couldn't help but sink when he saw her smile. What did he have to do to be able to gain the favor of a girl like that? There was also Su Yan, who was currently in space, earnestly treating the injured. What did he have to do? Seriously, Yi Zichen truly felt like he owed them too much. He did not give them a complete home, nor could he give them complete love. He couldn't even give them a normal life. He was always on the move. He was always walking on a tightrope. He made them worry at home. This time, they even came in person. Lord, it's about time. Niumeng flew out from space. When he arrived, he looked towards Xiaqiqi with a strange gaze. He saw it too, a golden dragon. Dragons were a very special existence in the universe. He naturally took notice when he saw a golden dragon arrive. All right, prepare to evacuate. Yi Zichen nodded towards Niumeng, then personally went up to Su Yan. At that moment, Su Yan's eyes were filled with exhaustion. This time, the healing of life directly faced millions of humans. Healing such a large area, and the fact that these people were all much stronger than her, placed a huge burden on her healing. Thank you. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Su Yan pursed her lips and smiled. Hearing Yi Zichen's voice, Suyin pursed her lips and smiled. As long as I can help you. I was able to help you. She basically said the same thing as Xia Kiki. For some reason, Yi Zichen felt a lump in his throat. He rubbed Su Yan's head and hugged her. I want it too. Xia Kiki moved closer. Yi Zichen also pulled her into his arms. Lord, everyone is ready. Niu Meng said sullenly. Retreat. Just as Yi Zichen finished, Bailey suddenly shouted towards Yi Zichen. Yi Zi, there's a very strong fluctuation of energy in the distance. Everyone looked towards space and saw a huge fluctuation of cosmic energy at the location where the iron armor ruler self-destructed. World domination really didn't die. Yi Zichen frowned. During the rescue, Yi Zichen told Bei Li to pay attention to the fluctuations of energy and magnetic fields. He wanted to confirm whether the World Domination King was dead or alive. Yi Zichen definitely wouldn't send people to investigate in person. It was too dangerous. The only thing he could do was to pay attention to the fluctuations of energy as much as possible. There was no movement from the World Domination King's side, even after 2 whole hours. Yi Zichen had even thought that the World Domination King might have died, just like that. He's really lucky. Yi Zichen sighed, then smiled. But it's good that he didn't die. If he did, then they might have sent other people over, which would be bad for us. It's just a pity for the Iron Armor King. No, he's the Iron Armor King. Yi Zichen told Niu Meng the information. Niu Meng was stunned for a moment, then raised his eyebrows. No wonder. I was wondering why the energy from the Iron Armor King's self-destruction was so huge. A king-level person still chose to self-destruct in the end? So, we can't disappoint the Iron Armor King's determination. Yi Zichen patted Niu Meng's shoulder. Yi Zichen patted Niu Meng's shoulder. This time we must win. Understood? Niu Meng nodded seriously. Now, notify the entire army to retreat to the secondary star. Yi Zichen let out a sigh, then cracked his neck. Execute Plan 1. Chapter 2754. Planet Ruins. The explosion of the Iron Armor Country King's divine body had affected a huge area. The planets around the sacred region universe country star were directly disintegrated by the shock waves. As for the World Domination Country King, who was in the middle of the explosion, he naturally suffered the fiercest impact. Country King. The king-ranked expert Jiao Nan immediately searched for the World Domination Country King after the shock waves calmed down. Finally, Jiao Nan found the planet ruins. He discovered the existence of the World Domination Country King. World Domination Country King. About half an hour later, Junon saw the World Domination ruler covered in blood. His skin was almost completely damaged, and his bones were broken. His body was covered in blood. Rise! Jiao Nan frowned and pushed the surrounding meteorites away with his cosmic energy. Country King, please wake up. World Domination Country King, please pull yourself together. Looking at the World Domination Country King's expression, Jiao Nan's eyes were filled with anxiety. He gritted his teeth. Jiao Nan took out a bottle of medicinal liquid from the universe space. This bottle of medicinal liquid was something he had exchanged for a monarch-ranked weapon from someone else in the Outer Domain ruins. It could heal fatal injuries in a short period of time. To put it bluntly, it was a life-saving medicine. Jiao Nan was usually reluctant to use a drop. Seeing the state of the World Domination Country King, he thought for less than half a minute before pouring the medicinal liquid into the World Domination Country King's mouth. Time trickled by, and Jian Nan, who had fed him the medicinal liquid, sat quietly at the side. Cough, cough. About an hour later, the World Domination Country King coughed violently. His originally weak aura suddenly sat up and spat out a mouthful of blood. Country King, Jiao Nan. The World Domination Country King tilted his head and touched his chest. At this moment, there was a warm current flowing slowly in front of his chest. He could feel the vigorous life force within it. If not for this life force, he might not have been able to wake up in such a short period of time. You saved me. This is what I should do. Jiao Nan buried his head deeply. The World Domination Country King suddenly squinted his eyes. Tell me the truth. Have you ever thought of killing me while I'm heavily injured? Immediately, Jianan knelt on one knee. This subordinate definitely did not have such thoughts. Are you sure? The dominating world ruler grinned and twisted his neck. His eyes were filled with scrutiny. Just now I was at my weakest. I couldn't even move a finger. I was unconscious. You're the first to find me, and the only one. If you had killed me back then, all my wealth would have been yours. You are just a king-ranked martial artist. Aren't you tempted by the king's wealth? This was the truth. The higher the strength, the more wealth. The ruler of the world domination country had been famous for a long time, and he was also a peak ruler. Every single one of the treasures on him was worth an astronomical figure. To a king-ranked martial artist, they were all cardinal treasures. If Jianan had really done that, he might very well have become the next ruler of the tyrannical era ruler. Your Majesty, please investigate this matter clearly. This subordinate has absolutely no such thoughts. Jianan knelt on the ground with a sincere gaze. After the energy shock occurred, the first thing this subordinate did was to find your position and think of how to save you. I definitely didn't have that kind of thought. All right. The world domination ruler narrowed his eyes into a smile and nodded slowly. I will believe you this time. As soon as he finished speaking, the world domination country ruler did not say a word about the life force in his chest. He closed his eyes and sat on the ground to recover. Jianan, who was kneeling on the ground, could not help but frown when he saw the world domination country ruler giving up so easily. After that, he seemed to have understood something. A bitter smile flashed past his heart. In fact, the world domination country ruler did not suspect him at all. The reason why he said that was because he did not want to compensate Jianan for the elixir. If not for that, with the world domination country ruler's personality, how could he let the matter rest so easily? When he thought of this possibility, Jianan's heart turned cold. He had treated the world domination country ruler wholeheartedly, but the other party actually schemed against him for the elixir that could save his life. There was a barrier. Quietly, a thought appeared in Jianan's heart. He was absolutely loyal to the world domination country ruler. However, today's matter made his heart turn cold. Involuntarily, he thought of the various experiences he had in the past. The world domination country ruler did not care what he was ordered to do. He had never paid any remuneration. Even if that was the case, even when he went to settle some things, the world domination country ruler did not mention a word about it. In fact, Jianan could still accept it. It was just a few million or tens of millions of universe coins. He had followed the world domination country ruler for so many years and had also picked up many benefits. This time, this bottle of elixir was exchanged with a monarch-level weapon. Between the monarch-level weapon and the elixir, he chose the latter. Moreover, it was obtained by risking his life alone. The world domination country ruler still wanted to cheat him. One must know that the value of this bottle of elixir had long surpassed the one he got from the world domination country ruler. Moreover, although he followed the world domination country ruler, he had always played the role of a servant. The reason why he could have the strength of a monarch was because of his own comprehension. The world domination country ruler did not give him any pointers. When he encountered danger, the world domination country ruler would let him solve it himself. To put it nicely, it was a form of training for him. Now, it seemed that the world domination country ruler was purely selfish. It was really ridiculous. After so many years, he had actually followed such a person. No wonder his good friend once advised him to leave the world domination country ruler. Without the world domination country ruler, he might have a better life. At that time, he even retorted that he would never betray the world domination country ruler. What a joke. The moment he left, the world domination country ruler, who had his eyes closed, smiled slightly, as if he was feeling wise and farsighted. The energy in his body was very high grade. He estimated that if he really wanted compensation, he would have to take out a monarch-level treasure. A monarch-level treasure. The value was ridiculously high. How could he be willing to give it up? Just by scaring the world domination country ruler, he could save a few galaxies. This was not a good deal. As for the idea of censuring him, he was too lazy to care. Jianan had followed him for so many years and had picked up many good things. Shouldn't it be natural for him to give such a good treasure to him? It was already good enough that the world domination country ruler did not make things difficult for him. With such a treasure, he actually dared to hide it. If he had handed it over earlier, he might have already broken through to the venerable level. Fortunately, he had the heart to take it out at the critical moment. His merits offset his faults. The world domination country ruler did not want to make things difficult for him. He felt the flow of life energy in his body. The world domination country ruler could clearly feel that all the cells in his body were jumping with joy. He had never felt this kind of surging life energy before. He had a premonition. After he recovered from his injuries and was given a few hundred years, he might be able to take another step forward. This step would be the venerable level. Chapter 2755. The effect of the medicinal liquid was as good as expected. After forcefully withstanding the explosion of the Iron Armor Country King's divine body, and under the situation where he was in the center of the vortex, after consuming the medicinal liquid that Jianan gave him, he actually recovered more than 30% of his strength in half an hour. 30% did not seem like much. However, to the world domination ruler, recovering 30% of his strength was already an impressive feat, you should know. He was at the peak of the venerable realm. If he recovered 30% of his strength, even an ordinary venerable might not be his opponent. Someone like the Iron Armor King was an anomaly. The Iron Armor King was a king-ranked martial artist. He had the reputation of being the #1 shield below the venerable realm. Kings could fight multiple venerables in the foreign battlefields without dying, and they could even kill them. For such a peerless genius to break through to the country lord level, his battle prowess would increase exponentially. This was why the world-dominating ruler was so terrified when he saw the armored ruler breaking through. To be honest, he wasn't confident that he could kill him. It was a pity the Iron Armor King seemed to have made a wrong decision. Even if his weapon was not very good, the world domination ruler was not confident that he could kill him. He specifically mentioned the weapon of the Armor Nation King to give him some pressure. In the end, the dominating world ruler estimated that his chances of winning would be around 40 to 60%. That was to say, there was a high chance that it would be 50-50. Unfortunately, the Iron Armor Nation King chose to self-destruct his divine body. Emperor of the Armor Nation, you probably didn't expect this either, but I survived. The world domination ruler muttered to himself as he laughed. Jianan, who had been waiting at the side, also walked over. Ruler, you've recovered. Regardless of whether or not there was a barrier between Tsang Nan and the world domination ruler, Tsang Nan did not care. Currently, he was still a subordinate of the world domination ruler. Moreover, he did not dare to betray the world domination ruler under such circumstances. Even if the world domination ruler recovered 1/10 of his strength, it would still be enough to destroy his divine body. Not bad. I've recovered about 50%. The tyrannical world ruler had purposely exaggerated the recovery rate in order to deter the censure. She told him not to have any evil thoughts at this time. The dominating world ruler was truly too cautious with his actions. If Jianan really wanted to kill him, he could have taken advantage of the fact that his god body was in deep sleep to do so. Now he was deliberately warning and censuring with his words. In the end, the only thing he got in return was to make his rebuke even more bitterly disappointed. Most importantly, he was purposely exaggerating the recovery rate, which also proved how precious the medicinal liquid Jianan used on him was. The world domination country did not mention a single word about the medicinal liquid at all. Instead, his resentment towards the world domination country's ruler grew even stronger. It's good that the monarch is fine. A smile lingered on his face. Looking at the smile on Jianan's face, the world domination ruler lightly shrugged his shoulders with a smile that did not seem like a smile. Of course, no matter what, I'm still a peak venerable. I won't die so easily. It's a pity for the Iron Armor Nation King. He had just broken through, and his divine body exploded. Iron Armor Monarch? Jianan was stunned. Iron Armor King broke through. The Iron Armor King was one of the more famous king-ranked martial artists in the universe. However, It was a pity that after he reached the peak stage of the king-ranked martial artist, he did not advance any further. Even so, his fame did not diminish, because everyone thought that if he could break through to the country leader level, he would be the #1 country leader in the universe. Who would have thought that he would choose to self-destruct after breaking through? He broke through. The world domination country king stood up, and Jianan hurried forward to support him. Dusting off the dust on his body, the world domination country king looked at the planet ruins in front of him. He just broke through not long ago. Knowing that he is not my match, he chose to self-destruct his divine body. Think about it. If not for the self-destruction of a monarch-level divine body, how could there be such a huge commotion? World domination country king's teachings are right. Jianan nodded lightly. Jianan, you still have a lot to learn. The world domination country king patted his shoulder. As long as you follow me wholeheartedly, the day I become a venerable will be the day you become a country leader. At that time, I will casually give you some of my treasures, and you will have a smooth life as a country leader. Yes. Jianan nodded slightly. The explosion of the Iron Armor Nation King's divine body must have affected a lot of people. How are the casualties on our side? The world domination country king stepped on the void and flew out of the planet. Jinan followed behind him, reporting the current situation of the battle to him. The Iron Armor Nation King's self-destruction had a huge impact on us. This time, the Iron Armor Nation King's self-destruction destroyed all our ships, battleships, and other battle equipment. 60% of them were completely destroyed, the internal resources were destroyed, and the energy reserves were scattered in space. In terms of casualties, this time's divine body self-destruction killed about 9 million people. How many? The world domination country king frowned. 9 million. How can there be so many? Even if you're in the battle zone, you should be in the outer area. When the Iron Armor Nation King's divine body self-destruction reached your side, its power was reduced by at least 99%. I can accept the destruction of the battle equipment, but are those soldiers stupid, not knowing how to use the universe energy to defend? They should have had enough time to react. The country leader is right. If it was just the Iron Armor Nation King's self-destruction, the casualties wouldn't be that high. Jianan replied. Who else self-destructed? On the side of the Saint Galaxy Universe countries, after the Iron Armor Nation Kings self-destructed, they started a large-scale divine body and universe energy self-destruction. Our people suffered a second blow. Large-scale? The dominating world ruler narrowed his eyes as a look of understanding appeared on his face. I understand. The Milky Way leader sure is vicious to actually self-destruct to destroy our battle strength. I've truly underestimated him. Actually, where is he now? He's stationed 60,000 kilometers away from the Milky Way. Jianan replied. They used the remains of the ship to build a simple space station. They're all recovering there. There are also people on guard outside to prevent the Saint Galaxy Universe countries from retaliating. Who gave the order? The world domination country king said softly. Your subordinate. Jianan, I knew it was you. The world domination country king laughed and shook his head. All your plans are more conservative. For example, this order. Is there a problem? Jianan didn't understand. The problem is, have you ever thought about how the Saint Galaxy Universe countries will retaliate? The world domination country king had a look of disdain. They're already at the end of their rope. Otherwise, the Milky Way leader wouldn't have let his people make such a move. Self-destruction. Unless it's a matter of life and death, who would choose to self-destruct? The country leader is right. Jianan nodded. Actually, he had many thoughts in his heart, but in the end, he couldn't be bothered to voice them out. You are still too young. The world domination country king shook his head and sighed. You still need to train. Then country leader, what do we do now? What else can we do? Naturally attack. Chapter 2756. Total attack. The words spoken by the world dominator king were filled with the aura of a hero. It was as though the sacred universe country was already a toy in his hands, and his total attack had to be successful. World dominator king. If it's a total attack, we don't have any preparations to attack. Even though Jianan wasn't willing to remind him, this was something that could be easily seen, he still had to say a few words. Otherwise, with the dominating world ruler's suspicious and arrogant personality, he wouldn't have been able to escape. He would definitely be suspicious of him. The world dominator king suddenly laughed out loud, and it was a loud laugh. Preparation? Do we need to? As soon as he finished speaking, a look of disdain flashed across the world domination ruler's eyes. Jianan, think about it carefully. Even though the Iron Armor Country leader self-destructed and affected our preparations, don't tell me it doesn't affect the Sacred Universe Country as well. His self-destruction is a double-edged sword. This isn't like the virtual reality games we occasionally play in the virtual world, where we can turn on allies and enemies to deal damage. Reality battles don't care about these. His self-destruction is a threat to us, but it is also a threat to them. The World Dominator King's eyes were filled with what he believed to be a wise and far-sighted smile, gently shrugging his shoulders. Think about it again. If our people die, don't tell me their people won't die too. Will their preparations be fine? They don't even have any preparations now. Actually, that Milky Way Lord is very smart. He wants to use his self-destruction method to force us to be on the same level as them. Because we have more preparations, they will benefit more. However, he forgot, even if we lose our preparations, our overall strength is still countless times stronger than theirs. No matter how they try to prolong their lives, it won't have any effect. The World Dominator King's analysis was clear and logical. Actually, without the second universe, his thoughts really weren't a problem. Even if it was anyone else, they would have the same thoughts. Unless it was those extremely cautious people, they would suspect even more. King, there's a very important piece of information that I feel I have to tell you. Jianan said softly. The Iron Armor Country Emperor's god body is self-destructed. It didn't pose a threat to the Sacred Universe Country's child star. This doesn't make sense. The planet has been destroyed, so why hasn't the child star been destroyed? Really? Hearing this news, the world domination ruler was stunned for a moment. This was indeed a little strange. In terms of the strength of a planet, the stars, planets, and child stars were arranged in such a way. Child stars were vassals of planets, just like the relationship between the moon and Earth. The dominating world ruler felt that there was something fishy about the fact that the planet had been destroyed while the child star remained unscathed. It wasn't destroyed. You can actually see it now. Jianan pointed to outer space. After the planet was destroyed, the child star that was originally orbiting around the planet was still carrying out its own orbit. There were no signs of it being destroyed. Why is this happening? The dominating world ruler remained silent. He was not an arrogant person. When he encountered a problem that he couldn't understand, he would also become especially cautious. For a full half a minute, the ruler of the world domination nation stood in space and stared at the distant star. I understand. No wonder it is unscathed. Your Majesty, why? Jianan asked. Do you still remember when I asked you to investigate the situation inside the star? You said that there is an energy seal around them, and our radar can't detect the inside. The World Domination Nation ruler said. What's the connection? Why not? The World Domination Nation ruler narrowed his eyes. The self-destruction this time was planned by the Milky Way Overlord. With the strength of the Iron Armor Country ruler, if he's self-destructed, even if he didn't break through to the monarch level, the impact of the self-destruction would be enough to destroy that small star. So they sealed the energy in advance to ensure the safety of the star. Jianan replied, That's right. If that's the case, there must be other guards inside the star. Jianan frowned. To maintain the energy barrier, it means that there are people constantly replenishing the energy. That makes sense. The World Domination Nation ruler nodded. Should we ask the Venerable One for instructions and ask him to send more combat preparations and warriors over? Wouldn't that be safer? Jianan tentatively suggested. No need. Unexpectedly, the World Domination Nation ruler gave a resolute answer. Why should we do that? Didn't I already say that we don't need to send more soldiers? But Jianan hesitated. I know what you want to say. Aren't you worried about the guards inside the star? How many can there be? I'll give him 5 million. We have a total of 11 million people, and all of them are elites with excellent equipment. Do you think we're afraid of 5 million old and weak people? The world domination nation ruler said disdainfully. Sometimes we have to be decisive when making a decision. Delaying will only cause us unnecessary trouble. Your Majesty, have you never thought that the venerable saint will recover? Jiannan reminded. Impossible. The world domination nation ruler was very decisive in his refusal. I saw Tianhai's injuries. He burned a part of his divine body, and his elemental spirit self-destructed. He will need at least 3 years to recover, and he won't be fully recovered. He will need to rest for 100 years to fully recover. We don't have to think about him. If he could really recover so quickly, the knight wouldn't have sent me here. Ruler, I still feel that it's better for us to send a batch of soldiers. Jiannan braced himself and said, Sure. The dominating world ruler laughed. Go and apply to them. Just say that the Iron Armor King broke through to the monarch realm and self-destructed. In any case, just tell them the truth and apply for more battle preparations. As for the warriors, we don't need them. Don't let the venerable subordinates come. The world domination nation ruler's last threat was already very obvious. Frankly speaking, he requested for the troops to be prepared to take it for himself. If the knight's underlings came personally, for example, a country lord level, then he wouldn't be able to carry out some of his plans. All right, I understand. Jiannan nodded. The world domination nation ruler laughed in satisfaction. Jiannan, you don't have to be afraid. I know you are loyal to me. I won't blame you. Yes, country ruler, bring me to the camp. I need to raise the morale of the Saint Galaxy Universe country for the final attack. The world domination nation ruler's gaze sunk as he looked at the distant star. We have to plan this well. We have to make sure that the Milky Way lords die in this chaotic battle. Chapter 2757. The Golden Dragon descended from the sky. In space, all the injured had already returned to the parent star. Logistics personnel. The moment Yi Zichen landed, Meng Luo and company all surrounded him. God! Then, Meng Luo threw herself in front of Xia Kiki and hugged her neck, staring at her with wide eyes. What are you doing? Xia Kiki frowned and pushed Meng Luo away. Kiki, you're a golden dragon. Meng Luo's eyes were filled with surprise. Dragons are a very rare race. I didn't expect you to be one. How about we form an alliance? It just so happens that our spirit rabbit race has the protection of a powerful race. Meng Luo, don't mess around. Hua Jianro, who knew the situation of the Meng Luo family, patted her little head. Your spirit rabbit lineage needs protection. Are those dozens of supremacies and overlords just for show? So what? Our spirit rabbit race is very weak. Meng Luo's eyes widened. You put a rabbit and a dragon together? Anyone would think that the dragon is stronger. Don't talk anymore. Hua Jianro covered Meng Luo's mouth and smiled at Xia Kiki. Kiki, don't take it to heart. Meng Luo injured her head when she was young, so sometimes she speaks in a weird way. However, there's something I need to remind you of. If possible, try not to transform into your true form. That's right. Kiki, I suggest that you don't use your original form before you reach the titled rank. Baiyu also nodded. What happened? Xia Kiki was confused. Because the dragon race has a special status in the human race universe. At this moment, a low voice came from afar. When everyone heard this, they looked over and saw Tianhai slowly walking over. Venerable One, Meng Luo and the others greeted Tianhai. Tianhai grinned when he heard them. You guys are all friends from the second universe. There's no need for this. Furthermore, with the backgrounds of your clans, it's best if you don't ask me about it. I can't afford it. Venerable One, you're being too serious. Baiyu slightly nodded. Tianhai, have you recovered? Yi Zichen smiled in relief when he saw Tianhai appear. I've recovered. Tianhai shrugged. Your time elemental sprite is very worried about your situation. It sped up the time around me by 300,000 times, and the cosmic energy in outer space has been somewhat exhausted. Wei Wei. Yi Zichen touched his chest and muttered. In order to withstand the self-destruction of the armored emperor, the 5 elements elemental fairies. In the time, elemental fairies were heavily injured and fell into a deep slumber. Yi Zichen was worried, but he didn't know what to do. All he could do was let them rest in peace. It's good that you can recover. Now that you've recovered, I won't have anything to worry about. Yi Zichen asked. Yi Zi, you just sent me a message not to let me out? What's the situation outside? Now that you've told me, I don't even dare to use cosmic energy anymore. Tianhai said, what was that energy shock just now? That was at least a monarch-level attack. Also, many of my subordinates self-destructed. The Emperor of the Armored Nation has self-destructed. Yi Zichen sighed. The others self-destructed. That was my decision. I've chosen a group of death warriors. Their goal is to self-destruct. Iron armor. King? Tianhai stared blankly for a moment, then laughed. He broke through and even blew himself up. That's fine too. This is a form of release for him. You don't blame me? Yi Zichen was stunned. Choosing death soldiers was my idea. Why would I blame you? Tianhai let out a long sigh. If I want to blame someone, then I should blame myself for being useless. If I could protect my universe nation, then they wouldn't have fallen to such a state. It's just a pity for iron armor. After he breaks through to the monarch level, his strength might not be any weaker than mine. Yeah. Yi Zichen sighed. All right, stop reminiscing about that. The war isn't over yet, Tianhai smiled. Oh yeah, Yi Zi, I nearly forgot because of your interruption. I'm Big Brother Zichen's second wife, Xiaokiki said. Yi Zi is a passionate person as well. Tianhai suddenly laughed. I have over 100 concubines in total. How many do you have, Yi Zi? Let's change the topic. Their team was currently in an ambiguous relationship. Tianhai was truly touching on their sore spot. Tianhai was stunned for a moment, then understood. All right, then I won't say anymore. I'll continue with what I was saying. It's best if your wife's identity as a dragon is not revealed in the human universe. Why? Yi Zichen frowned. The dragon race's situation in the human universe is rather special. Tianhai pondered for a moment, then glanced at Niumang. Niumang, tell everyone else to leave. Understood. The surrounding people all left, and Tianhai set up another barrier around them. Yi Zi, you know the relationship between the human race and the god race, right? Naturally, Yi Zichen nodded. It was only because he knew the relationship between the human race and the god race that he intentionally didn't reveal his divine blood. He also reminded Su Yiyun, who was adventuring in the universe. The relationship between the dragon race and the human race is pretty much like that, Tianhai said. That's right. How could that be? Yi Zichen frowned. If I remember correctly, the dragon race is one of the 5 god races. They are on the same level as the fire god race and the phoenix race. If the phoenix race can live among the human race, why can't the dragon race? Have you seen the phoenix race before? Aside from the spirit phoenix supremacy, Tianhai said. No. Then that's right. The phoenix race's situation is pretty much the same as the dragon race. The main reason they haven't been exterminated is because there are 2 fire elemental fairy kings and the spirit phoenix supremacy, Tianhai replied. You know that the spirit phoenix supremacy has 2 main bodies, right? One is in charge of spatial destruction, while the other is in charge of undying and fire. I know. That's why the human race doesn't dare to make a move against them. Tianhai frowned. Tianhai furrowed his brows. As for the fire god phoenix tribe, they also have to fulfill the condition that they are not allowed to leave the area they are guarding. The same goes for the dragon race, black tortoise race, and Qilin race. So that's how it is. Yi Zichen frowned. But a lot of people saw it just now. Don't worry about my people, Tianhai said seriously. My people definitely won't reveal your wife's identity. I will remind them of that. They're all my old subordinates, so they're definitely trustworthy. However, remember, you're not allowed to revert to your true forms, at least not in front of the kings. Kiki, do you understand? Yi Zichen asked. Yes. Xiaokiki nodded seriously. But our Milky Way galaxy. Yeah, Tianhai, you know about my Milky Way galaxy, right? There are 5 guardian god races in my Milky Way galaxy. What's more, many foreign races have already settled in the Milky Way galaxy. Yi Zichen said, lock them down. Tianhai said without a second thought. If you don't want them to be exterminated, and if you don't want your Milky Way galaxy to be destroyed like mine, lock these races down and don't let anyone enter. They can leave the planet if they want, but they have to be king-ranked. Chapter 2758. King-ranked. Even the titled rank that, by you mentioned, was a very demanding requirement. Yet Tianhai said he had to be at least king-ranked. King-ranked. That was already an outstanding talent in the universe. Countless humans spent their entire lives trying to reach that level, yet were unable to do so. Yet here, Tianhai, this was only the basic requirement for the dragon race to move about freely. Without reaching that level of strength, they couldn't leave. Bailey, tell Shang to lock down the main body's 3 life planets. Tell him what Tianhai said. Although the requirements were harsh, Yi Zichen was still decisive. He immediately told Bailey to pass down the orders. He trusted Tianhai's judgment. As for king-ranked, that could wait. In truth, Yi Zichen knew that the king-ranked Tianhai spoke of was just a threshold. The prerequisite was that the clan didn't have any experts protecting them. If they were like the 5 god clans, they would have enough experts to intimidate the entire region. At the very least, they wouldn't be attacked. There's one more important thing. There will be bets during the red and blue trials. Yi Zichen frowned. Yi Zichen knitted his eyebrows. I wonder if there will be a live broadcast. It's fine. In the face of Yi Zichen's suspicions, Tianhai was much more at ease. You're a Milky Way Lord. This Miss Golden Dragon is your wife. Out of respect for you, they won't dare do anything to her. That is, in the future, don't casually transform. At least not before entering the Ancestral Dragon Clan. Entering the Ancestral Dragon Clan will be fine. Yi Zichen frowned. You could say that. Tianhai nodded with a smile. Tianhai smiled and nodded. The Ancestral Dragon Clan is overseen by the Dragon Clan's elders. If the younger generation of the Dragon Clan goes there, they will naturally be protected. So that's how it is. When he heard Tianhai's explanation, Yi Zichen was even more curious about the Ancestral Dragon Clan. The trial began. While the Ancestral Dragon Clan was closed, anyone who broke through to the supreme level had to go to the Ancestral Dragon Clan to receive free instruction. There were even dragon elders within the clan. Yi Zichen guessed. The other divine beast clans probably had members as well. In other words, the Ancestral Dragon Clan had the power to summon the entire human race, including the beasts that were friendly with humans. There was also the trial. He could tamper with the internal structure of human planets at will and create game-like digital war equipment inside, which could also be a deterrent to the humankind. Then, based on this deduction, if the Ancestral Dragon Clan built these camps internally, they all had the strength to unite the human race. There was also the black hole within the dark universe. Ancestral Dragon Clan. It was too mysterious. All of this made Yi Zichen suspect that there was a higher plane of existence beyond the cosmos. These people were actually a kind of accessory of the high-level world. This ancestral dragon race is really weird. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes, then shrugged. Never mind, I can't be bothered with that. Have all the divisions arrived at their assigned positions? Everything is ready. Tianhai nodded lightly. When I arrived, I saw that there were already people standing around the energy cannons. The combat spaceships and manned spaceships were also in position. Yezi, are you going to fight? What am I supposed to do? You should just stay on the Twin Star. Yi Zichen smiled. Huh? Tianhai was stunned, then hurriedly said, I've already recovered about 60% of my strength. Even an ordinary venerable would not be a match for me. You're my trump card. I can't expose you. When he saw Tianhai's anxious expression, Yi Zichen shrugged with a smile. Right now, the invaders don't know that you've recovered. Their leader this time is a country lord. If you show up now, the country lords will indeed die in battle, but the enemy will definitely send out their full strength. Right now, we don't have the strength to fight them. Then you wear them down. Yi Zichen grinned. I won't annihilate them. I'll just keep them hanging and buy as much time as possible to accumulate enough points. During this time, I'll have to keep provoking that world domination king. You're still going? Hearing that, Bai Yu and the others felt their hearts skip a beat. I have no choice but to go. If I don't provoke him, he might contact their headquarters and send more people to assist us. A few is fine, but if too many come, how are we supposed to hold them off? Wasn't that our original plan? By time, then when do you think they'll come? Tian Hai frowned. I think very soon. Yi Zichen smiled and shrugged. Yi Zichen chuckled, then shrugged. That world Jimin country's ruler is definitely brainwashing his subordinates right now. He's telling them to chase after us and destroy our crystals. How can you be so sure? Hua Jian asked. If it were me, I definitely wouldn't launch an all-out attack. The self-detonation of the Iron Armor Nation destroyed all of their combat equipment, and their casualties were very heavy. The safest thing to do right now is to send more people than launch an all-out attack. That's why I said it to you. Yi Zichen patted her head. Yi Zichen caressed her head. The king of world domination won't. Why? Even Tian Hai couldn't help but ask. Because he's a smart person. Yi Zichen smiled. Smart people all have a common problem, and that is they think they're infallible. He has absolute confidence in his brain and believes that he can see through all the schemes of the world. Everything I've done is to make him, a confident person, become conceited, to make him believe that everything he thinks is correct. If I'm not wrong, right now, he definitely thinks that the sacred region is a lamp without oil. Self-destruction, that's the best proof. We no longer have anything to fight against him. Even if the Iron Armor King's self-destruction affects him more, he's got more resources, so he'll have more bargaining chips than us. He'll definitely win this battle. That's definitely what he thinks. Yi Zichen's expression was filled with confidence. Yi Zichen's expression was filled with confidence. Actually, he also had this problem, which was that he believed in all of his decisions. They didn't investigate the internal situation of the twin star. Tian Hai frowned. Look up. Yi Zichen pointed up. Yi Zichen grinned and pointed into the sky. I left 3 million people behind from the start to interfere with their investigations. They won't be able to find out what's going on inside. If that's the case, won't he suspect something? Tian Hai asked. He will, but he's a smart person. Yi Zichen laughed. Yi Zichen grinned. This confidence will make him deny his suspicions. What's more, I'm here too. He wants to kill me so badly right now. How could he possibly restrain himself? Chapter 2759. If it wasn't for the fact that Yi Zichen was truly afraid of the world domination king going crazy, Yi Zichen really wanted to stand in front of him, humiliate him, and trample all over his character. Thus, he led his subordinates and charged towards Zi Xing. Easy, should we? Before Tian Hai could finish, Niu Meng hurried over. They had already discussed the matter of the dragons. Tian Hai also dispersed the barrier around them and faced Meng Niu. Master, Lord, Niu Meng greeted the two. Tian Hai nodded. What is it? Someone's coming, Niu Meng said solemnly. Niu Meng's expression was solemn as he said, this time, the other party should have come out in full force. The people who came all flew here. The numbers are very exaggerated. According to our investigation, there are more than 10 million of them. They're here? Yi Zichen's eyes brightened. Then, he looked towards Tian Hai and the others with a smile. How is it? Am I right? Lord, you're truly divine. Winnie's gaze was filled with admiration. Winnie had a look of worship on her face. It seems that the world domination kingdom has completely fallen into the rhythm of a lord. This time, victory is within our grasp. Don't be so sure. Yet, Yi Zichen was humble. Victory is in our grasp. Let's just say that we have a 99% chance of winning. As soon as he finished speaking, he narrowed his eyes and twisted his neck, not caring about the expressions of the others. Follow me into space. The vast army of interstellar warriors, numbering 11 million, all moved out. The world domination king declared that they would definitely win this battle. He stood at the very front of the army, with several other king-level experts behind him. Unbeknownst to them, at the same time, in the human race's outer space, countless participants were also paying close attention to this round's trial. The ancestral dragon clan had been broadcasting the first clash between Yi Zichen and the world domination king. It seems like the blue side is finished. That was pretty much what all the viewers were thinking. Based on their calculations, the World Domination King's chances of winning against the blue side were over 70%. And that was taking into account many unexpected situations, such as the Iron Armor King's self-destruction. To be honest, the self-destruction of the Iron Armor ruler's divine body had shocked everyone watching the live broadcast. The Iron Armor King. He was too famous in the human race universe. When he appeared, the other trial teams were in an uproar. For no other reason than the reputation of the Iron Armor King, they were willing to give the blue side a 20% chance of winning. After that, the Iron Armor King battled against the 8 conferred kings. All of their divine bodies perished. In the middle of the battle, he had even broken through to the monarch rank. At this moment, almost everyone believed that the blue side was going to win. Because the Iron Armor King had broken through to become a monarch, the ruler of the world domination country should not be his match. However, no one would have thought that the Iron Armor Nation King would self-destruct. After he self-destructed, more and more people on the blue side self-destructed. The trial takers also noticed that these self-destructing people were not weak. They belonged to the upper echelons of the blue side. The large-scale self-destruction did indeed increase the chances of victory for the blue team. But this was a bad move. Most of the trial challengers believed that the blue team's chances of winning would be slightly higher if they waited until the Armored Nation King recovered from his injuries and the Sanctuary Venerables regained some of their strength. Of course, this possibility was very low. 9 to 1, but 10% was already a miracle. One had to know that at the beginning, they all felt that the blue team's chances of winning were 0. Unfortunately, the Iron Armor King self-destructed. A hero of a generation had fallen. The trial takers watching the live broadcast all mourned for him in their hearts. Those who bet on the red team's victory were already jumping for joy. They had bet on the right person. Young Master, it seems that our score is going to be the last this time. In the interstellar battleship, a girl with a ponytail sighed sadly. The blue team is going to be destroyed. Just now, I have made tens of thousands of deductions through the optical computer. The blue team's highest chance of winning is 23%. Momo, I have told you many times, don't call me young master. The young man in the cabin spread his hands. Then what should I call you? Brother Chun, brother and Chunin, aren't these all fine? The young man looked helpless and looked at the other young men and women in the cabin. And you guys, don't call me third prince or young master. Just call me by my name. We are all here to participate in the trial. There is no distinction between us. If Yizichin was here, he would definitely feel like he had met an old friend in a foreign land. 10 people. There were also 10 people in the young man's cabin. What's more, their numbers were the same as Yizichin's. There were 2 Duke-level guards, while the others were all trial takers. In other words, his difficulty level was 256 times. None of this is important, right? The important thing is that we're going to lose. The girl called Momo shrugged. The girl called Silence spread her hands. We've obtained 25,600 points in the first round. 15,600 points were bet on the blue team winning and 10,000 on the red team winning. In the middle, we lost 256 times 5,600, which is about 44 million points. We lost that much. Chuna was momentarily stunned, then sighed in pity. What a pity. Is the result already out? No. Did you hear what I said just now? Momo sighed. What I said is that we are going to lose. The result isn't out yet, but it is already very obvious. Doesn't that mean it isn't over yet? Chunin shrugged. Chunin, looking at the listless and sleepy youth in front of her, Silent Disaster shouted angrily. Can't you listen to me properly? I'm listening. Chun uncovered his ears and laughed. Momo, can you call me again? Are you sick? The girl with the ponytail had a look of disdain on her face as she crossed her arms. Why did Lord Overlord and Madam let me follow trash like you out? Watch your words. The 2 dukes in the cabin frowned. This is His Highness the Third Prince. How dare you say that the prince is? Don't mind her, let her speak. Chunin had a silly smile on his face as he said, I like to hear Momo talk about me. From today onwards, I, Chunin, am Little Trash. From now on, you can call me Little Trash. I really like this nickname. It sounds much better than those third princes and young masters. Is there something wrong with your brain? Silently widening his eyes, he held his head in his hands. Oh my God, I should have returned to the Milky Way. Why did I stay to participate in the trial with you? The Milky Way overlord has already appeared. Momo, do you want to return to the Milky Way? After this ends, I will bring you over. Chunin laughed. There's no need. I am the rightful ruler of the Milky Way. I can return whenever I want. Silent Disaster had a look of disdain. Seriously, you are really annoying. What was I talking about just now? You made me forget. You said that our points are going to be the last. Yes, we're going to lose. If we lose, so be it. I saw that you are from the Milky Way. That's why I bet on the blue side. Chunin laughed. Momo, do I treat you well? Please scram. Thank you. Silent Disaster pushed Chunin away. Crossing his arms, he walked to the edge of the cabin and sighed. Gumomo, am in such a difficult situation. Chapter 2760. It could be seen that even though Chunin was a prince, he had the highest status in their group. There was one important point. He was a bootlicker. No matter what Gumomo said about him, he wouldn't be angry at all, saying that he was a waste. He could happily say that it was his own nickname and act especially happy about it, even if it was a bet. It was also because Gumomo was the orthodox of the Milky Way that he would bet more points on the blue side. In other words, he actually preferred the red side. In order to pursue love, he chose to give up this time's trial. You are really sick. Gumomo shook his head with a look of disgust. Chunin, you are a prince after all. You are the orthodox royal family. Don't you care about your face? What's wrong with me? Chunin was puzzled. Looking at Chunin's puzzled expression, Gumomo could only sigh lightly, not knowing what to say. Anyway, I'm just informing you that your points are going to be counted down. It can't be. Chunin was surprised. Isn't the result not yet? Why do you say that I will lose? Look at the data. Do you want the Milky Way to lose? I am the orthodox of the Milky Way. I naturally don't want the Milky Way to lose. Gumomo frowned, and then helplessly spread his hands. But my thoughts are also important. What can I do? Then they won't lose. Inexplicably, Chunin squinted his eyes and laughed. You think they won't lose just because you say so? Where did you get this confidence from, really? Gumomo curled his lips in disgust. I have made tens of thousands of calculations, and none of them had a winning rate higher than 30%. Because I placed a bet. Chunin laughed out. Huh? Gumomo was stunned. Does this have anything to do with the trial? Even if you bet, you can't win just because you bet you are not. Inexplicably, Gumomo was stunned on the spot. Because I bet more on the blue side. Chunin smiled and shrugged. Compared to your data, I believe in my luck more. Such a metaphysical saying. If it was put in other places, it would definitely be snorted at. However, it was Chunin who said it. She really believed him. Because Chunin was truly an existence that was like a mystery to them. Simply put, he was surrounded by a myriad of destiny. The fortune of the human race seemed to be swirling around him. Can you imagine going out for a walk and falling off a cliff and not dying? He had obtained a supreme treasure. Others went through a lot of hardships to cultivate, but he just ran 2 laps around the planet, and he had an inexplicable epiphany. God to gain experience, to be able to obtain a peerless cultivation technique. He dug out the seeds of divine plants from the undeveloped land of the planet. As long as he went out, the road would be clear. He wanted to buy something, even if there were countless people in front of him. When he went over, those people would leave with all sorts of reasons. Take their first trial, for example. Originally, when they encountered a trial, due to the difficulty factor, the possibility of completing it was almost zero. They were all ready to give up. He wanted to withdraw from the trial. At this moment, 2 monarchs suddenly appeared in space, fighting. The shockwaves from their attacks killed their trial targets. It could be said that their journey was like a game. Can you believe it? In this kind of outer space, Chunin even picked up a magic treasure that was at least at the king level. You think your luck will let the blue team win? Yeah. Chunin shrugged. I believe in my luck. I don't believe I'll be the last in points. Then all right then. Gumomo didn't know how to retort. Just based on Chunin's life, it wasn't impossible for the blue team to have a miracle. At the same time, Monarch, their energy seal still hasn't been removed. I suspect there's a problem within their planet. Jianan frowned, muttering, should we wait a little longer? Wait for what? The Dominator World Monarch frowned. Don't tell me you're still insisting on your thoughts, waiting for the war preparations to begin. That's indeed what I'm thinking. Jianan nodded. He didn't think there was a problem with his thoughts. Their current method of attack was the safest. And even if they were to investigate, the situation within the Sacred Universe country was still unclear. Jianan, I said it. There's no problem with your thoughts. It's just that you're too conservative. The Dominator World Monarch seemed to agree with Jianan's words. That's how he was. If Jianan didn't say anything, then he would actually be suspicious of Jianan. The Dominator World Monarch's gaze turned cold. They're still setting up an energy seal at a time like this. Do they think they can scare me with that? Jianan, it's all fake. Before the tyrannical world ruler could finish his sentence, a spaceship slowly appeared in space. Bailey, send them a message. Yi Zichen stood in the cabin. This time, he didn't directly go in front of the Dominator World Monarch. He was afraid that the Dominator World Monarch would attack him out of anger. Thus, he stayed in the cabin at a safe distance. If the Dominator World Monarch really wanted to attack him, then he would instantly return to the planet. Milky Way Lord. Hello, Cripple. We meet again. Yi Zichen laughed when he heard the voice in the cabin. Who did you say? Who knows who I'm talking about? Yi Zichen purposefully taunted him with a smile. I wonder who was the one who was half dead from the explosion, but you sure are tough. Are you a tortoise? You're still alive even now. How is it? Did I blow you up into a yin-yang man? I think so. You're courting death. Why would I be afraid of trash like you? Yi Zichen sneered disdainfully. You little yin man, hurry up and kneel before me, the Milky Way Lord, and become my lapdog. Let me tell you, there are still 100,000 energy cannons on my planet. If you take another step, you will die without a burial place. Milky Way Lord, you must take responsibility for your words. Take responsibility? Yi Zichen asked in confusion. You're a yin-yang person. How do you want me to take responsibility? It can't be. Yin-yang people's sexual orientations have changed. Are you so scary now? If you're interested in me, I advise you not to. I find it a little disgusting. Everyone charge. The world domination ruler clenched his fists tightly and bellowed. If you come, you will die. Think carefully. Yi Zichen muttered. You. Just wait for your death. The world domination ruler roared angrily, then grabbed his communicator. Everyone charge. Destroy them at all costs. Today I must kill this brat. Not even when Li can protect him. I said it. Chapter 2761. The dominating world ruler was infuriated. He was a genius. To be able to break through to the country lord level in 10,000 years, and to be at the peak of the country lord level at that. This was enough to prove his unparalleled talent. For the past 10,000 years, he had always been the center of attention. Furthermore, his family status in the universe wasn't bad. Ever since he was born, he had never encountered such a vulgar and vile insult. This little rascal, I want to tear him to pieces. Enraged, the world domination ruler's monarch aura gushed out from his body. The reproaches standing beside him were all smashed into the walls of the cabin by his aura. Monarch, please calm down. Jianan endured the aura of the world domination emperor and shouted with great difficulty. The Milky Way overlord is intentionally provoking you. He wants you to bring people to kill your way in. You need to be careful. The lord of the world domination kingdom was gnashing his teeth and clenching his fists, but his emotions had calmed down. No matter what, he was still a monarch. He knew very well that anger would devour his reason, and he couldn't let that happen. He had to consider the problem with a peaceful mind. Country king, we have no choice but to guard against him. Jianan muttered. The ruler of the world domination kingdom frowned at Yi Zichen, who had no intention of retreating. He had already disconnected the call. However, his gaze remained fixed on Yi Zichen's cabin. Jianan, you're right. The world domination ruler nodded. He is indeed deliberately provoking me. This kind of behavior is too deliberate. That's right, monarch. Jianan nodded vigorously. So I think he definitely has a backup plan. No, suddenly, the world dominating ruler shook his head in a firm tone. He definitely did not. Monarch? Sung Nan was genuinely shocked that the ruler of the tyrannical world country would say such words. Think logically. What would Yi Zicheng gain from provoking the world domination country king on purpose? He'd make the world domination country king so angry that he'd attack his child star. Why would he do that? If he didn't have any backup plans, he wouldn't be able to provoke the world domination ruler. Wasn't it just asking the sacred region universe country to give it for free? There was only one possibility, and that was that he had a backup plan waiting for the world domination ruler to attack. Moreover, he had intentionally sealed the planet with energy from the very beginning, so that the surveillance equipment would not be able to find out what was happening inside. All these signs pointed towards the sacred universe country's backup plan. Jinan, I know where you were surprised, and I know what you were thinking. The world domination ruler grinned and said, "Are you thinking that logically speaking, I would definitely attack that little ruffian if he angered me? If he doesn't have a backup plan, my attack will only hasten his death, so he will definitely have an ambush." Yes, Jianan nodded. But do you think that little ruffian didn't think of it? The eyes of the world domination ruler sank. Although this little ruffian has a foul mouth, I can't deny that he is actually a little smart. Even if he is a little short-sighted, he is still able to think of such a logical problem. So under the premise that he thought of it, it's very likely that he's fighting against my logic. Anti-logic. It was difficult to understand. He purposely did this to make us think that he has an ambush so that we don't dare to attack rashly. The world domination ruler laughed. This way, while we are suspicious, he will be able to carry out other arrangements to defend against our subsequent attacks. Ruler, this can't be right. Jianan couldn't understand. Such a false threat, how long can it last? The time is short, but it's already precious enough to him. The world domination ruler laughed confidently. The Iron Armor country's self-destruction is something that he probably didn't expect. The impact of the self-destruction had a huge impact on him as well. He needs time to prepare, recover, and rearrange his arrangements. If we suddenly attack now, he won't have the time to prepare, so he can only use such a risky method to fight for his life. Fight for his life. Right now, Jianan was truly unable to say anything at all. He was convinced by the world domination ruler's point of view. Anti-logic. This kind of anti-logic could very well be what he believed himself to be. With such a way of thinking, anyone would think that there was something wrong with his thinking. It's fighting for his life. Seeing Jianan's confused expression, the world domination ruler laughed even more gleefully. He loved such a feeling. Others couldn't see it, yet he could. Only by doing so could he show off his intelligence. He already has no way out. He has to fight for his life. The world domination ruler laughed. Even if he doesn't provoke me, I will still attack. Provoking me is also an attack. If he doesn't attack, he will definitely choose the latter. Also, you have to consider the past. His people have all self-destructed. If they weren't forced into a corner, why would they self-destruct? Also, did you see anyone give the sacred galaxy universe country battle equipment? We didn't keep an eye on them. Jianan frowned. Actually, they never intended to wipe out the sacred galaxy country. Don't chase a cornered enemy. This logic was applicable in the universe too. Tianhai was after all a knight. If he was pushed to the brink of despair and self-destructed his god body or energy, the consequences weren't something they could handle. Their original intention was for Tianhai to retreat. Hence, they naturally didn't keep an eye on Tianhai. It was just that they didn't expect the ancestral dragon clan's trial to suddenly come. This forced them to attack Tianhai. It's true that we didn't keep an eye on them. However, if there really was a large batch of equipment here, would our people not know? The world domination ruler laughed mockingly. What did that little ruffian say? He has 100,000 energy cannons. If he really has so many cannons, why doesn't he attack us after the star tier cannons finish firing? Wouldn't he gain the most then? Yes. Also, it's impossible for them to have 100,000 energy cannons. There's another important point. There was simply no one who would trade with Tianhai. Don't forget, from the start of the war, Sun U.S. Star Master had already arranged things. Those families that do war business won't sell any resources to them. The Virtual World Corporation doesn't even have enough for themselves now. The knight is right. One word from the knight is enlightening. Jianan cupped his hands. It's nothing much. If you think more thoroughly, you will become like me. The world domination ruler laughed. He wants to use this to threaten me. I won't give him the chance. With that, the world domination ruler took out his communicator. Everyone, this time it's a real order. I admit that I was a little emotional earlier, but now I've thought it through. The 100,000 energy cannons are a scheme of the sacred galaxy universe country. I order you all, charge.